uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
Buccaneers. No off season, doesn't matter. 400 missed reps, doesn't matter. New players, new system, doesn't matter. Adversity all over the place, pandemic, doesn't matter. 7-5, doesn't matter. National media against them, doesn't matter. Injuries, doesn't matter. 31-9 over the Kansas City Chiefs. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web on your 2-year anniversary of Super Bowl 55. You got to love it. Let's go! How do we start off this show? You ready? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. Once again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. On tonight's show, we'll have JC Allen of Pewter Report giving his best memory of Super Bowl 55. Talking about the quarterback situation, talking about the offensive coordinator situation. What's the latest with your Tampa Bay Buccaneers? We'll have Best of the Bay, Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. I know he wants to get on here and give his best memory of that whole weekend, not only the game. And then we'll have Chris Pinson of KOLR 10, Ozarks and Fox, local guy now, moving on to bigger and better things. And then, of course, we'll have your phone calls, as always, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. And, of course, 727-409-7528. It's 727-409-7528. Let's go out to my co-host tonight. We're not going to have any Harry the Greek. That's okay. A little bit under the weather, but guess what? I got an oldie but a goodie right there, Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, Best of the Bay. Welcome to the Evolution, your 2-year anniversary for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeating the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 55, 31-9. Welcome to the Sports Web, my friend. How you doing?
Good, brother. And, 2-year anniversary today. And just this last week and a half ago, it was the 20th anniversary of Super Bowl 37. There's been so much symmetry between the Bucs first and the championship and first championship in team history, of course, 37. And then, of course, 55, they're under Arians and the current team we have now. But the 2-year anniversary, and brother, 2 years ago, we were like, what? We were coming out of, we were getting to that better place, but we were still in the thick of the COVID 2020, pandemic and all, and the crazy things that were going on. And you and I, we've spent a lot of time together. Like we were doing a lot of coverage of the team that week, and we can remember some of them stories, some of them great things, some of them historical things that happened, not only for this team, but for just you and me, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know there's a State of the Union address on. Here's the State of the Union of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to be just fine, Bucs fans. They're going to be just fine. This organization is going to find a way. Let's go back to that weekend because you always like to tell these stories. Let's tell the story because JCA is running just a little bit late right now. We'll have him on and get the latest. But give me a story from that weekend. I think your favorite is the Top Golf the night before. I don't think we slept. I didn't sleep. And I'll tell you why, because we did so many great interviews, and you have to be at the Deck Bar and Grill, which, by the way, was tremendous. I was there by noon of the Super Bowl because we had to do a pregame show. We got on at 2:30, and I remember editing and staying up all night long, and it was just that adrenaline. Being a Bucs fan for so long and waiting. And I always talk about it, 8 years old, watching this team. And even though you see the first one, this season was so magical. But talk about Top Golf and who you got a chance to interview on that Saturday night right before Super Bowl Sunday.
So, right, it's the pandemic. We're going over to Top Golf. It's it's all this. Everyone's in town for the Super Bowl, even though it's a COVID safe distance, whatever. And we know that all the big guys are going to be over there. And of course, Todd Grassley. Shout out to Todd Grassley. What a great job he did that night. We were working hand in hand with him. He was covering the Top Golf event there, and all the interviews we got. I got just a great chance to talk. Bernie Kosar, and of course, all the people were meeting, but Doug Flutie come right up to us, and it was funny because I'll tell this story, guys and girls, because it's been 2 years since we've been there, but we were all there together. You and I were like, okay, we had this discussion on the way over there. You and I did. It's okay. We're interviewing these players, but we're still trying to, we're not going to do 6 feet because we don't have a mic stick, but we want to also be respectful to David Ortiz. We want to be respectful to these players and these guys that are doing these great things to raise money for these events and in town for the Super Bowl 55 festivities. But great thing, Peter, even though you and I were very respectful, we had our masks, and when we asked questions, Devin Hester, it was a little hard. You got a little excited with Devin, but we tried to ask the questions, but then we were holding the mic away. We were trying to be respectful because we want to let them know, even though we're in a situation here where we're not recognizing that 6 foot distance, and we understand there's still a pandemic going on, but we've got to get this interview. We've got to ask these questions. And brother, those interviews that night, go back and look at every one of them to a man. Just fantastic. Had a great job. We were respectful of the pandemic, but at the same time, we locked down interviews. And I think now that I remember it, you and I are the only ones out there locking it down the way we did. And like anytime you and I show up for an event, they hand it over to us because they see you and I and our professionalism. They're like, let these guys do it. And we always come through in spades.
Yeah, we were definitely the only ones out there. We took advantage of the opportunity. And on the way there, it was funny because we saw a Batmobile and I was like, who is that? And sure enough, we find out that it was actually Doug Flutie.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's so crazy. And he came up, he talked to us about Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes and everything like that. So it all related to Super Bowl 55. And I just remember the night before being so pumped up, and then the day of the game. I mean, give me your best memory where you're like, it kind of hits you, because I think we're in the moment, right? We're working for Bucs Report at the time, salute to them, whatever. We turned the page on that. It was always the sports web, no matter what. But, thanks to them for giving us the opportunity to be on that platform at the time. But you're kind of in work mode. But then when does it kind of hit you for yourself? And I definitely want to throw it out there to fans. Give me your best memory of the game. Give me the best memory of the year if you want to. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. And of course, 727-409-7528. Ray, when does it finally hit you that the Bucs are in the Super Bowl?
After we were done at Top Golf, you and I, we trek over because we're riding home. I'm like, Pete, there's no way we're not going to go by and not stop over at Raymond James Stadium. They already had all the barricades set up. They had all the 55 stuff. They had all the media stuff. And, it was crazy. And people forget this. They weren't just giving away media credentials for anybody because it was still in the middle of a pandemic. You and I, we did our Top Golf. We locked down the great interviews. I hope we can go back and share those again because we had a great time that night. Got some great answers from some Hall of Fame players. Yes. But you and I, we stopped at Popeyes, got a couple of chicken sandwiches. We headed over to the stadium. You remember that, right?
Yes, I do. And I tell you right now, Popeyes chicken sandwiches with red beans and rice and lemonade is all you can ask for. You do all these interviews for the whole night. You go there. I don't care about heartburn at that point because I'm not going to sleep anyway. Right. And you're exactly right. And I forgot about this. And this is why I had you on tonight, because we did go over there and everything was kind of taped off, and we went live, not with the camera, but with my camera, and just walking around, because I remember not getting an opportunity to experience Super Bowl, and I want to do that again. I experienced Radio World before, long time ago, when it was the Colts versus the Saints down in Miami, but really wanted to experience this Super Bowl, and I kind of feel like just any other year, it would have been different. It would have been just amazing, and it was still amazing at that point, but so many festivities going on, and we just had to get over there when nobody was really doing anything, and just, go by One Buck Place, take a video of the flag, go by the pictures. I mean, go ahead and talk about it even more.
Well, and I'll go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and mention this because, we've been trying, you and I, the sports web, we've been trying to knock some boots. We're trying to make the powers that be understand the reason why they have to have a sports web. We have to be media credentialed for these events. It's not just because we're fanboys, which bury the lead we are, but we're locking it down. But you and I, we had a job to do. Of course, you mentioned we were at Bucs Report. We were going to lock it down the next day at the pregame, halftime, and postgame shows there down at the Deck Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol. So we knew we weren't going to be at the stadium, even though the credentials were lower. But you and I, brother, we've known all along that will happen. We're letting it come. We're letting it come organically, and we're fine with that. But that night, you and I went over there. We grabbed our Popeyes chicken. We went over, and we were like two. That's what I mean. You asked me what I remember. We were like two kids in the candy store. We were running up and down the hills over at One Buck Place. We ran across the street to the stadium. And we're getting a picture of the pirate ship. Even though we've got 1,000 of them, but it was Super Bowl 55 weekend. It was 2 years ago this week, and that's why we were so excited. And that's what we love about what we do and the people we share this with. All of us out here on the sports web sharing these memories is because that's what it's all about. It's not just what we remember; it's what we all remember as fans of this Buccaneers team.
Absolutely. I tell you what, let's go out to the phone line. JC Allen is in the lobby there. Stand by. We'll get him on. Let's go out to Ed. Ed, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Best of the Bay, Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. What's your favorite memory from, of course, the 2-year anniversary of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeating the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9? Go. Welcome.
Oh, everything. It was history in the making. It was great for Tampa Bay. We got the first home game Super Bowl. You just can't ask for anything better than that. Just that alone. And then, they had these spectacles all over downtown Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my wife went to one and got pictures. We got pictures taken with players. We were with you we were with you watching the Super Bowl.
Actually. I think you guys came down to the Deck Bar and Grill, which was great, at the time.
You gave me a football that's got the Super Bowl logo on it and everything, which was great. It's a collector's item. Yeah, it was awesome, man. The whole experience was just fantastic. But now that I got you on the phone, I'm gonna put you on the spot for a minute.
Go ahead, put me on the spot.
All right. What's this going on? I heard that Tom Brady said something about he wants to play again on his podcast.
Well, he doesn't want to play again. I mean, he basically said in so many words, I know in my heart, and he said this on Fox Sports Radio's The Herd, I know in my heart how I feel. Life is about exciting things ahead too. When one thing closes, like football for me, I look forward to what's ahead. Now, he also said on his podcast last night, he feels like he could still do it, just paraphrasing. But right now he's trying to take time with his family, to spend time with his family. Of course, not joining Fox until 2024. So, of course, everybody would say that and say, you know what, he's going to come back and play for the Bucs. I really don't think he's going to do that, not from those comments the last two shows. I don't see that happening at all.
So, are the Bucs going to pursue Derek Carr? I mean, I know that they can't do it right now because they have to wait till, the end of the year to do it, the end of the league year.
Mm-hmm.
But are they going to pursue him in free agency, or do you think he's just going to get cut?
Hey, latest news is the Saints have gotten and received permission from those Las Vegas Raiders to actually to talk with Derek Carr. And of course, that actually leads to the fact that maybe the Saints are willing to give to the Raiders want to get something for Derek Carr because he's down the hook for $45 million in less than 7 days if that guy is still on his team. That's not the way they want this to go. I pose that any NFL team would be stupid to give anything to him unless you're a team like those Saints with a Dennis Allen's defense that you would like a quarterback, but Bucs fans out there, if Derek Carr becomes a Saint, he's a good quarterback, but that doesn't make me lose sleep at night. The Saints defense still makes me lose sleep, not Derek Carr as a quarterback, even with Alvin Kamara.
And I don't think he's going to be traded there. I don't know why he would help out the Raiders. I don't know why there would be a team stupid enough to even agree to any terms or compensation for the Raiders. If I'm Derek Carr and if I'm teams out there first, I'm doing everything I can to make sure it doesn't work for the Raiders the way they treated me and this whole process, especially at the end of it. And then furthermore, if I'm a team out there, I'm playing chicken and I'm going to wait it out until February 15th. If he's still on that roster, then it's going to be $40 million for their cap at the end of the day. I don't think the Raiders are going to have him on there. I think he's going to be cut eventually. He has no trade value at this point, and teams are going to have to wait it out at the end of the day. Ed, we got to run here. We got JC coming on. He's going to answer all your questions about Derek Carr. Thanks a lot for the call. Use the second one, my friend. All right?
All right, see you later.
All right, see you. Good stuff there. Open phone line. Definitely want to get JCA. I want to get this guy on, get his intro on. Here we go. Professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports, Mr. Harry the Greek. I got to start out with this first. Welcome. And what's your favorite memory from, of course, the 2-year anniversary of Super Bowl 55? Welcome to the Evolution.
What was my favorite memory? First off, hi, Ray. Hi, Pete.
Hey, Harry.
My favorite memory was the camaraderie. It wasn't the game.
Mm-hmm.
It was the camaraderie between the three of us.
Right.
Yeah.
You really want to know the truth? That's what it meant most to me. Great game. Great defensive game.
Right.
Brady didn't throw for 200 yards, but having that defense, you didn't need to. But my fondest memory was just the camaraderie from the three of us. The end.
Love it. All right, I tell you what, we got to get this guy on here really quick because I want to know the latest about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's go out to Mr. J.C. Allen. Welcome to the Evolution, of course, of Pewter Report. Started out here. I always brag about it. Give me your favorite memory from Super Bowl 55. Welcome to the Evolution.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? First of all, Harry, Peter,
Hey,
Ray.
how you doing, man?
How you
JC.
doing? I
Good
figured
morning.
I'd go with this avatar photo, only fitting, right?
Oh, you're still rubbing that in. You got that picture on Bayshore Boulevard. Beautiful picture, JC.
I appreciate it. But my favorite memory was just obviously it was a bittersweet moment for me because we were with Bucs Report. You guys were doing the deck at bar at the show at the deck. I got
the
COVID
deck
that
bar
week.
and grill.
Mm-hmm.
I got COVID, so I couldn't do anything. And I could have actually been credentialed for the game because I was credentialed to the NFL at the time. But COVID threw a wrench into that plans. But thankfully for COVID, everything was done via Zoom. So all of Super Bowl media week, highlight for me was talking to guys, all the players on the Bucs really, and talking to guys like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and then talking to all the guys after the game and Rob Gronkowski after the game, and just kind of getting blown up on my mentions by friends and family. I just saw you on I just heard you on ESPN asking Gronk a question, so that was probably the best moment for me, and seeing Brady win another one.
Well, we actually got that question really quick here, so stand by. Here we go. Well, there's no sound here. What's going on? Well, there's no sound, so I don't know what the heck is going on with the sound. So we got no sound at this point, so we'll come back to it. I don't know what happened there, but of course that's Gronkowski asking the question. We'll get that on some other time. Let's start off with the breaking news that just came a couple hours ago, according to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. The Raiders are granted permission for Derek Carr to visit the New Orleans Saints. What should we think about this? You said in a tweet earlier on in the week that you felt like Carr would end up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First, address the Saints, and why do you think Derek Carr will ultimately end up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in your opinion, JC?
As far as the report with the Saints, I think this is just a team kind of feeling out what is in Carr's mind and what's his mindset is at this point. Apparently, according to Albert Breer, the Saints and Raiders have agreed on trade compensation, but that's just because the Raiders have pretty much told any team that wants to meet with Derek Carr has to agree to their trade compensation before anything happens. The biggest roadblock there is that contract. I mean, he's due $33 million, and the Saints have the worst cap space in the league. Now, they can, if they max restructure everybody that makes over $2 million, they can open up around $33, $34 million right there. But that's it. They're going to have to make some really tough decisions, not be able to bring guys back. Now, they could do some extensions and make some tough cuts, etc., and open up other cap space. But you still need at least $7 million for your draft picks. You need at least, $3 to $4 million for in season. That's as far as, acquisitions and paying the practice squad, etc. So it would put them really, really tight. I don't necessarily think the Saints are a quarterback away from really competing. But with Dennis Allen, defensive-minded coach, he's probably the last person that wants to get a rookie quarterback in there at this point. and try to win with that or try to rebuild with that. I think when this team was given to Dennis Allen, really, almost like the same way that Bruce Arians gave it to Bowles. Now, Allen had an interview along with other people, but it was pretty much given to him. It was given to him with a really solid defense, some solid playmakers, good offensive line. Just, try to keep us afloat, get a quarterback that can manage the game and have your defense play smash mouth. And I don't think he wants any part of that. Now, where I come to the Bucs. Okay, go ahead, sir.
What I was going to ask you was, and I wanted to stop you right there. Why would New Orleans even want to give up anything for him? Why would any team want to give up anything for him? Because from what we understand, if he is still under contract on the 15th of this month, they're going to pay him $30-some million. They're going to cut him. So if they want to try to beat somebody, I mean, we're not talking about Tom Brady. We're talking about Derek Carr. And Derek Carr with an aging team, with a running back that they have there, and Chris Olave is probably their best player. The slant master can't play anymore. You're right, JCA. They are more than one player away from even reaching.
Hey, Harry, I'll answer your question, though. And I thought about that same thing, brother. My thought is that I do not think any way, shape, or form the Saints are going to give the Raiders any kind of compensation of what they're currently asking for. And to be honest, I don't know what that current compensation they're asking for is. I think that if the Saints agree, wink, wink, nod, nod, we'll give you that compensation. They get Derek Carr in the building, let him know, hey, we like you. We like the way you look. We think you smell nice. I think that come the 15th or come midnight the 14th, the Saints can call the Raiders and go, all right, you guys aren't going to get what you're asking for, but we'll give you a 12-pack of Miller Lite and $25 for them. And the Raiders are going to go, okay, it's better than nothing. Let's do that deal.
Whatever they give them, Ray, whatever they give them, buddy, it's going to be too much because there's nobody in the National Football. If he decides to go to the New Orleans Saints, and I think JCA will have to agree with this, it is going to put that franchise back even further and further and further. Let me be really clear on this. I don't even think that Tampa can afford him.
JC, where do you stand? Go ahead and where do you stand on this? Do you think the Saints will give the compensation? Do you think eventually he'll be cut? And if he does end up with the Bucs, how could they restructure? Or what could they do to free up money? How much do you think it's going to cost for Carr at the end of the day?
Yeah, so I think that the Saints are doing their due diligence, kind of, checking out, like I said, feeling out Carr. What's his next move? What is he thinking? Obviously he's in football shape. We just saw him put on a little clinic there at the Pro Bowl games. But as far as, could they potentially get compensation for Carr? I mean, you look around the league, the teams that need a quarterback, there's plenty of them. And if they have the cap space, which the Saints don't have, and he does get cut, and he's making quarterback money right now. $33 million is quarterback money. That's JC, what fifth-year options are with 2 Pro Bowls. So
can I ask you a question, JC? Can I ask you a question? No, honestly. Yeah. Now you cover the Bucs. You know the Bucs like anybody else, and you also, by association, cover the NFC South. The Saints with Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston and the Red Rocket, whatever he's decided to do, or the Buccaneers, even with a Blaine Gabbert, a Ryan Griffith, and a Kyle Trask, the jury's still out on him. If you had to make a choice between which team has the better quarterback position right now, would you choose the Bucs with Trask and Griffin? And of course, Griffin's a free agent, and so is Blaine Gabbert. But with that threesome, or the Saints with Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, and of course Andy Dalton?
I would say the Bucs, but it would be really close.
It would be close, yeah.
Just because I think Gabbert's probably. Well, it depends. It's an all new
system. Say it.
It's an all new system. It's going to be an all new system for any of these quarterbacks. So Trask is a very deliberate learner. It's going to take him a while to catch up to a new system. I don't know. It's interesting. I think the only reason why any team would trade for Carr right now is to jump ahead of a team that has cap space that can outbid them. But as far as the Bucs, with Derek Carr coming here, I think it's a real possibility for multiple reasons. If he is cut, first of all, I think this offense is still loaded. It's still ready to win. It's still a very potent offense. You get Ryan Jensen back. That right side of the line is set. Question marks on the left side with left guard and left tackle, but you're going to have a fierce competition this year with Luke Gedeke, Nick Leverett, and Robert Hainsey all fighting for that starting left guard position. You might have a new left tackle that remains to be seen. You still got Godwin. You still have Mike Evans. Kate Otten showed a lot of promise.
Maybe.
No, that's
You
not
didn't throw that one up.
that's not happening. They didn't incur too big of a dead cap, Evans. If anything, I would expect an extension for Mike Evans coming up here soon within the next couple weeks.
Hey, do you guys think that maybe would the Saints possibly jump in for a Derek Carr? I think you mentioned it right there, JC, to keep a team that has cap space. To keep him away from a Frank Reich and the Carolina Panthers, a quarterback whisperer, if you will.
Right.
I
mean, if you look at it, the Jets need a quarterback, the Colts need a quarterback, the Panthers need a quarterback, Bucs need a quarterback. The Falcons could use a quarterback, Saints could use a quarterback. I mean, you could go on and you could go on and on. Ryan Tannehill might not be there this year again, and Tennessee could use a quarterback. Like, I mean, you just keep going down the list.
I know you
multiple teams.
I know you've been running a little bit here, but let me ask you this: why is it taking so long for the Bucs to hire their next offensive coordinator? Dan Pitcher, quarterback coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, got a second interview. What about Todd Monken? How does he fit in this? Now also getting a second interview with the Baltimore Ravens. Why is it taking so long for the Bucs? Does it come down to who they have playing quarterback at this juncture, in your opinion?
I don't think it comes down to who they have playing quarterback. If you look at this coaching process, it's been very slow and very deliberate. Teams haven't been moving fast. Even when, teams know who they're targeting, with D'Amico Ryans going to the Texans and Sean Payton going over to the Broncos. These teams are taking their time. They're doing a deliberate search. You look at the Colts bringing in third interviews, second round interviews for the Cardinals, and it's the same thing with the offensive coordinator position. A lot of these offensive coordinators, they want to know where the head coach is. Is there going to be a better opportunity for me? And same reason why some of these other coaches, next season there could be a lot more job openings and a lot more attractive job openings. So
this is the NFL of the future.
You want to set yourself up so you can put the best season forward. And I think the Bucs are going to take their time in this approach. I don't think they're in any rush necessarily to get an offensive coordinator. The guys that they've interviewed obviously have opportunities elsewhere, but the Bucs still present a really good opportunity in a winnable division with we'll see what Bowles puts together, but I am assuming it's going to be a potent defense. Again, weapons on the offensive side of the football. I just think it makes a lot of sense.
Joshua, I got to tell you, man. I got to tell you,
I think. Choose.
I got to tell you, Josh, I think this team's going to be stuck with a mid-tier quarterback, and it's not a bad thing. It's either going to be Kyle Trask or they're going to go out and get a mid-tier quarterback. I'm going to say people like, and believe me, I'm not telling you Trubisky's coming to town, but this team with this offensive line, when they fix it, and this offense and getting back to a run-first type of mentality, having Godwin and Evans and that formidable defense, what am I talking about? A top 5 defense next year. This team can still win 10 to 13 games. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the defense is the biggest question mark because you're losing almost your entire secondary. I mean, you're losing your number 1 and number 2 corners, your number 2 and your number 2 and 3 corners, number 2, 3, and 4 safeties. You're losing a lot of position players. What's Shaq Barrett going to look like? You're losing your 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defensive linemen potentially. Levante David hasn't made a solid decision. So there's some solid pieces left on that defense, but there's also a lot of question marks. Okay. And if Bowles can put together a strong defensive unit, then really all you need is a game manager. That's kind of what the plan was with Brady. They didn't want him throwing the ball. They wanted him utilizing the running game, the defense holding teams. Well, that's what the plan. That's what the plan.
That sure
was.
Fooled me, man. 60 friggin' times in a game. Are you shitting me?
At 106 years old.
Yeah, really, man.
But, I mean, that's what their plan was, and I think Bowles will be perfectly fine that way. Carr is obviously the big name because he has had some success. He's relatively healthy. He's still relatively young. I mean, it's a name that I think attracts a lot of people. But going with a bridge quarterback, a guy like Jacoby Brissett, Taylor Heineke, one of these guys. Gardner Minshew is a hot name out there. Even a Jimmy Garoppolo. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold.
He ain't going anywhere. Baker Mayfield's going to stay in L.A.
Those are potential guys who could be that bridge year. Well, maybe they invest a later round pick.
JC, can I ask you a question, though, brother?
Yes.
Just as sure as I'm sitting here, I am not 100% sure. I'm not even 51% sure that the Rays are going to get a stadium built in St. Pete. But when I was credential to cover the Rays. I went in and I asked every man to a person, Mark Tompkin on down. I said, tell me how a stadium can get built in St. Pete. And all of them said it can never get done. And I said, you guys got to follow the money. And the reason why I'm setting you up for that is I want to ask you, JC. I know we have no tape on Kyle Trask. I understand that Tom Brady was here and the glare from that sun is so shiny that there's a lot of shadows left off, let alone any chance to shine. But does anybody really have any truth that Kyle Trask cannot be a baller of a quarterback, or are we just all speculating on the fact that because Tom Brady was the quarterback and Blaine Gabbert, because he had 17 years in the no risk it, no biscuit system, does anybody, Pewter Report on down, does anybody have any proof that Kyle Trask can't be the guy, or is it just speculation at this point?
I think one of the problem with Trask is that this has been his scenario all throughout his career, right? High school, college, now the pros. When the Bucs drafted them, one of the biggest things, obviously, there's a lack of mobility, had good arm strength, good accuracy, and the biggest thing was he checks up from the neck up. Now it comes out that he's a very deliberate learner. He may not get things the first time, but he'll put the work in to get it then. Well, that's great. But it was a very slow process in the Arian system. Now, he also had to learn the pro game. He had to learn the dropbacks, all those different things that he needed to learn. He's got those fundamentals down. He learned from Tom Brady. He should have work habits, study habits, etc. That he picked up from watching Tom. The thing is, it's going to be a brand new system for everybody on this team. Offense, offensive line, tight ends, running back, wide receivers, and most importantly, quarterbacks. If he is as deliberate and as, don't want to call him a slow learner, but someone that takes time to process, pick up things, and really hone them, instead of someone that you can just, it's like people who can play music by ear and people who have to, get a guitar tab, and people who can read sheet music. He's the person who's got to read the sheet music or the guitar tab.
That's his MO going back to high school. He's behind Derek King there.
But now he's got to learn a whole new system. So how far behind does that put him? How long is it take him to learn a new system in order to compete for a starter when we haven't seen any of it?
As a person,
we haven't seen it with the starters either, Ray. So I don't.
Well, let me ask you though, brother, if you had to choose right now as a person in the know, well, I don't want to say in the know, but it knows the team as much as we do. If you had to choose right now going forward, if someone came to JC Allen right now and said, you got to pick between one of these two players to run this offense in 2022, it's Kyle Trask or it's Jameis Winston, who would you choose?
Winston.
There's a lot of factors and variables that go into it.
Right?
I don't know if Winston would want to come back to Tampa.
Oh, I don't know if he would either.
I don't know. It depends on what the system is. Is this a system where it's going to limit him to cut? Is it going to be a training wheel system like he had with the Saints at the beginning of the 2021 season?
He'd be pitching to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. He'd be pitching to Cade Otton, and he'd have
and he'd be pitching to everybody else's cornerbacks as well, like he did. That's the thing.
Why are you laughing? I'm sorry.
Is it someone? If it's an offensive system that's going to limit his mistakes and turnovers and kind of keep the training wheels on him, then yeah, I think that could be a potential possibility of him. Now
you're making my argument. That sounds exactly like an offense that I want a third-year Kyle Trask to play in. If it's a training wheels offense with a running game first and a defensive-minded team, I want to see what this Kyle Trask, the second-round pick out of Florida, can do.
Is Winston can bail out of certain. He's more mobile. He's got the wheels to roll out. He's got the wheels. Again, if they bring in one of these younger guys, I don't think they're going to want a statuesque Kyle Trask in the pocket. I think if it's a Dan Pritchard, I think he's going to want someone with some mobility. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson, but some that can do waggles and rollouts and RPO and all sorts of different things. And I don't know if Trask is that guy. No. So that's why I think Carr is a very attractive option for the Bucs for multiple reasons. It keeps them in contention. They can structure the contract if he's a free agent to where it's a minimal impact in year one. That he can, he keeps the Bucs in the national spotlight, national media attention. Probably keeps them getting, maybe 4 or 3 primetime games instead of the full 5 slate. It also keeps the Glazers happy. It keeps potentially keeps fans happy because they're locked into 2-year deals on their tickets, and you're not putting out a product which is tanking. You're putting out a product that can actually win the NFC South and potentially make noise in what was a pretty weak ass NFC conference this year.
True.
So
I
if that
could tell
continues
you
over next year, I think that's why Carr is attractive for those reasons. It's not a
Not at
rebuild
$30
with
million.
him.
Not at $30 million.
It's not a rebuild. It's a retool with him.
That's
you know,
it.
and the funny thing is, with Brady's doubt in what he was doing last year, if he is retiring, is he coming back? A lot of people wanted the Bucs to trade for Carr then before he got that big extension.
Hey, Pete, can I ask
and now
JC
a lot of
one
those
question?
same people are against having Carr, which is, I don't know why. The one thing I will say that threw me off about Carr, and I've always thought that he'd be a decent quarterback in Tampa and could potentially help you win something. I don't know, the division, the conference, I don't know, the Super Bowl. But the one thing that did irk me a little bit is there was reports came out where he felt betrayed by Josh McDaniels because he put him on blast in front of the team, and he felt like he was getting picked on. And when other players came out on that team saying, I don't think he was treated any different than anybody else. That's what we loved about Josh, is he held everybody accountable, coaches, himself, players, quarterback, anybody. And the fact that kind of crippled Carr a little bit to the point where what was quoted was that he was more worried about what Josh was going to say after a game in film review and it was rattling him during games.
JC,
that makes me a little weary.
Can I ask you one question, JC? Real quick before JC, I know you got to go, but one question, JC.
All right.
Tom Brady's already. Can you hear me? Tom Brady's already done everything right. Stepping away to 2024. He's not going to show up this week and do a quick little. And even with Olsen there in the booth, I get that. But JC, in your best thoughts, is Tom going to? Because the NFL's fine with this. The rules are set up for this. Is Tom going to sign that 1-year extension that lets the Bucs take this cap hit over 2 years, or is he just done with this team now? He's going to let the Bucs take the entire hit in 2022 and have to deal with that. What do you think there is? Tom going to do? Because all he's got to do is sign that 1-year extension, retire on June 1st. The Bucs get to take that cap hit over 2 years, and it gives us a little more cap space to be able to get some tools for this 2022 season.
I wouldn't doubt it, but at the same time, I don't know if he wants all that
drama
that goes with it. Oh, he's not. Well, he could. What if he is technically on the contract? What if he does come back? And if he does,
why would he want to? Hold on, man. Why would he want to do him any favors? JCA. Why would he want to do any favors for this team?
They've been over backwards.
Hold on. Hold on. Let me make my point here, just please. This guy didn't want to play for the Buccaneers. He held them hostage. He had a head coach fired. So they made him essentially play.
Goodness.
Hold on. They essentially, that's actually proven that he did that. That is why he came back.
What, on Snopes.com?
Read on it, guys.
Snopes. Right.
On Snopes.
Read it.
Keep reading Pro Football Talk there.
I do read Pro Football Talk, but I don't believe that narrative. I don't believe that Bruce Arians would have stepped away.
No way.
Guys, let JC finish. Go ahead, JC.
Sorry, JC.
No, I don't think that's a situation at all, holding them hostage. I think if anything, Brady would do that because of the respect he has for the coaching staff, because of the respect that he has for the ownership. I think for Jason Light, I think that could be a possibility. But at this point, I think they just, they're still gonna get $24 million in cap savings this year, which is going to help them tremendously by designating him as a post June 1st retirement. So
thank you, brother. I think so too.
I just don't know if I don't see him just doing an extension to open up all that extra money.
Oh, come on now. See, the thing is, but you go back to last night on his Let's Go podcast, never say never. And here's the thing. I get it.
That was in jest.
But he's not coming back. He's made a great exit. I'm actually, guys, I said that he could not beat Olsen out, but now I'm looking forward to Tom Brady in the Fox booth at $37.5 million a year. I get all that. But the way that this guy completely exits Tampa Bay gracefully, he gave us a Super Bowl. He was here. He led the team. The way he exits completely gracefully is by the NFL's own ruls. He signs that 1-year extension. They take the cap over 2 years. He takes a June.
I just don't think it's gonna. I know what you're saying. I just don't think it's gonna happen. I think
then I'm saying Tom Brady's a pussy if he doesn't.
You're damn right.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying.
Jeez. On the 2-year anniversary of the Super Bowl that he brought.
I don't care. I'm saying if you don't do Tom Brady's all about whatever
it takes. If you don't take that back, they're going to miss 13 more years of playoffs.
I know, my bad. But the thing is, that's my bad.
Right. All right, JC, I know you got to get out of here, my friend. So go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
Always a pleasure. Always a blast with you guys. At JC Allen NFL is my Twitter handle. Pewter Report at Pewter Report on Twitter, pewterreport.com, and of course on YouTube, Pewter Report TV. Check us out. Check out all the content out over there.
Great stuff, brother.
All right,
Great
man.
Talk soon,
Appreciate it,
JCA. Nice talking to you,
Allen
brother.
of Pewter Report. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution. All right.
I'll talk to y'all later.
All right.
I just
Good stuff
want to
there.
make
Yes.
one point
Yes.
before
Go
you
ahead.
continue, okay? Take your blinders off, folks. Okay? It's not bullshit what I'm reciting here. He did not want to play for this team. Okay? So people that want to say stop reading this, stop reading that. No, these are coming from players from the Tampa Bay organization. Okay? I am not a Tom Brady hater. I love the fact that he brought a Super Bowl here 2 years ago. But if he didn't want to play, then they should have let him go this year.
Well, no, Harry, here's what I'm saying. Harry,
No. Hold on.
he wanted to be a Dolphin in 2022.
Hold
did.
on. Let's go ahead and set this straight. The year before, there was ownership offered. The story was that he wanted to be a part-time owner for the Miami Dolphins. There was also a report that he was going to come out of retirement, try to start for the Miami Dolphins. It was never going to happen because it would have taken ownership vote. The Bucs had no business letting him out of any contract. A contract is a contract.
Boom.
And by the way, he wanted to play with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. It was either retirement or playing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You don't let a guy out of a contract because he's Tom Brady. And I heard this nonsense.
Why not?
Because you don't.
Why?
You signed a contract. That's why.
But that's what you get. That's what you get as a sub 500 team. That's what you get for a quarterback that doesn't show up in the preseason. That's what you get when he's taken off and going to hang out with his old boss because he didn't want to be committed to this team.
Maybe
so I say shame on the general manager of this organization to do that. But that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
Not at all, because I think the Bucs did everything they could to make him happy. And they did also everything they could to make the fan base happy. And they did everything they could to be smart about this and intelligent. Because if you move on from Tom Brady at that point, who do you have? Blaine Gabbert or Kyle Trask? You're not going to sit here and tell me that you're better off with those options at the end of the day. Furthermore, was it all on Tom Brady? No, it was not all on Tom Brady. It was on the offensive line. There was other things that factored into it. Enough with the nonsense of, well, this was all on Tom Brady.
It ain't nonsense, Pete.
It was nonsense because you have a defense that let down. You have an offense that let down. You have an offensive line
with the injuries.
Okay, so week one. So tell me, week 1 and week 2, they ran the ball 50 and 50. Week 3, you mean to tell me it's just coincidence from week 3 all the way to week 17 that they decided to throw the ball, I don't know, 4 times more than they ran the ball? Hold on. My other point is this, Pete. It's not nonsense. What I'm saying is this, and this is the point I'm going to try to make. I am not a Brady hater.
You don't have
this
to keep
team
on saying that. You don't have
this
to keep
team,
on saying that to
but
make
this
that
team
point.
would have been over 500 with Blaine Gabbert, a quarterback, because he's more mobile than they were this year.
No way. They're over 500. I'm telling you right now.
I don't know. I don't know about that because I'm telling you what, Blaine Gabbert could run this offense.
With this offensive line, it's horrible.
The offense in general was horrible. And once again, you're missing one.
And that's why Byron Leftwich is fired.
Let me come back here again.
Good riddance. He's gone. Finally.
It was not just on Tom Brady. Does Tom Brady share some of that fault? Absolutely, because who knows how many plays he was calling. But at the end of the day, they should have gotten rid of Byron Leftwich at the bye week. They should have.
The same guy that everybody was clamoring for to be the head coach here. Let me remind you and everybody else out there.
But the statistics out there showed, and you were also a guy that said you didn't like BA, and I was a guy that said, you know what, BA should be on this coaching staff. But it didn't happen.
I was never a fan of Bruce Arians' style of offense.
I don't know how you couldn't.
Because it's the risk it, no biscuit has never, ever been successful. And you know what?
Really?
You didn't see the risk it, no biscuit in the Super Bowl. Tell me anytime you see in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, it was risk it, no biscuit.
So then
no, Peter, it was defense and running the football.
Whose offense did you see in that Super Bowl there? Was that Byron Leftwich or was that BA's?
Oh, it had to be BA's
That
offense.
was a combination of both at the end of the day. So I think we're all guilty here of sitting here and saying, you know what, Byron Leftwich had a top 10 offense. He had a strong offense with Jameis Winston. People go, well, that was his fault with the 30 interceptions. It may have been his fault. It may have been BA's fault. But at the end of the day, let's stop with the nonsense of, Let's all blame Tom Brady for everything that
I
happened.
didn't blame Tom Brady.
No. Hey, I'm not blaming Tom Brady, but I'm telling you guys right now, if he doesn't,
You're
if he doesn't sign,
misunderstanding me.
if Tom Brady doesn't sign that 1-year extension to give us the cap relief, he's a pussy. I'm just saying that right now.
You know
Come on,
what? And I'm not
please
blaming
stop
Tom
saying
Brady.
Stop saying that, man. Come on.
I'm not blaming
sorry.
Tom Brady. I'm blaming the management for holding the GOAT. If he didn't want to play and it was apparent this year, they should have looked to trade him so they could have got some value.
Harry,
It
they
was
didn't.
And Bruce
It
Arians,
wasn't the Bucs. It was the NFL that dictated the fact that he had to play because they're the ones that killed the Miami Dolphins with the Brian Flores lawsuit.
And what about Bruce Arians? How dare you take the former head coach that just won the Super Bowl, and now your coordinator is the coach of the football team, and you got Bruce Arians sitting on your sideline? What is this, the Dallas Cowboys, where you've got the owner sitting on the sideline? I don't agree with it.
That Bruce Arians moved to the front office was as much of his health issue than it was a Tom Brady pushing him out. I'm just telling you right now. I know we had the whole thing where him and Byron Leftwich were in there overnight having Girl Scout overnighters and writing up offensive plays, and Bruce Arians with the Achilles injury was coming in and crossing him off. I get that, but the truth is that I saw Bruce Arians when he retired from the Cardinals. He had health issues. I saw Christine Arians and her worry about him coming back with the Bucs, and I saw Bruce Arians almost have heart attacks on 3 separate occasions in 2019 and 2020. Bruce Arians stepping into the coach's box this year, even though it may have been, let's see what happens, what we can do with the greatest of all time. It wasn't Tom Brady pushing him off there. I can say right now, I don't have proof on that, but I can tell you right now, I do not believe that.
I definitely think there was something to it. And at the end of the day, are the Bucs guilty for giving Tom Brady the control? Of course they are. But put yourself in their shoes. Of course you're going to give him control because he's the greatest of all time. Of course you're going to give him control because you know you have the best shot to win. Screw Kyle Trask, screw Blaine Gabbert, screw any quarterback out there. If you got Tom Brady, you got an opportunity to win. Did they know that Ali Marpet was going to retire in the offseason? No, they did not. Did they plan for it? They tried. They tried with the rookie, but he wasn't the same thing. They didn't know Ryan Jensen was going to get hurt. They also didn't know they had all these multitude of injuries. Leo Ward, but they had him. It wasn't just Tom Brady and his control over the organization. Was it a part of it? Absolutely. Does he share some blame in it? Absolutely. It's probably the reason why he's retiring in the first place, because he's not playing at the highest level. But to sit here and say it was all on Tom Brady because of the offseason, because he didn't want to be here, I think he was committed to being with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Did he see an opportunity with the Miami Dolphins? Absolutely he did. Did they give him some more privilege than every other player? Of course they did. That's what happens. Jimmy Johnson with the Dallas Cowboys used to say the same thing about his star players.
Before Barry Switzer took over for him.
I'm not talking about the Miami Dolphins. You bring a valid point, but you are misunderstanding the point that I'm trying to make. Just like the rest of the people that keep sending me DMs that I'm a Brady hater and everything else. This has nothing to do with Tom Brady, other than the fact that pisses me off that you have a head coach fired. The end. That bothers me. And when you've now implemented a head coach from your defensive coordinator, Todd Bowles, all he was a puppet this year. Because if anybody thinks that a defensive-minded coach and a defensive-minded genius, to be exact, wants to throw the ball 60-plus times a game, you're highly misunderstanding what
Harry, the reason why, but brother, the reason why I have such a hard time thinking that Tom Brady had Bruce Arians fired, and it may have been he's like, hey, you know, Jason Light, I might be inclined to stay here, even though Miami already got me burnt, and the NFL's told me I can't go anywhere because I can't be an owner, so I have to be here because I'm under contract. The reason why I have a problem with the Tom Brady Bruce Arians deal is because I'm just telling you right now, there was never a doubt. Byron Leftwich was never going to be the head coach of this team. This team was always going to be Todd Bowles' team to take over. This was, going back to Super Bowl 55, going back to the way Todd Bowles calls his defense, the way this Todd Bowles defense reacts under him, and the way Tampa Bay's a defensive-minded team first. There was never any doubt. Even when Bruce Arians stepped away as Todd Bowles stepped in, but even if you'd have told me that Bruce Arians died yesterday, God forbid, Christine, I'm sorry, Arians. But even if you told me that Bruce Arians had died, and we had like a week layover where the Glazers wanted to wait till he was buried to make the decision, there was no way that Byron Leftwich was ever going to be the coach of this team. It was always going to be Todd Bowles' team. And I can't see Tom Brady, as an offensive-minded guy, would ever want to push Bruce Arians out of there because he thought that Todd Bowles was going to be better offensively minded to let him run his offense and then bury the lead in 2022 when he actually was able to do that because they were told, Todd run the defense, let Tom Brady and Byron Leftwich run the offense. We found out that with the offensive line injuries, it sucked. But I don't think that. I don't think that
again. I think there's a
I
combination of things.
I would
Yes.
love to say one thing and make me full screen here.
Yes,
because
go ahead.
I'm not going to go off. I'm just going to tell the people in Tampa Bay and around the country that are Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans. I am a prognosticator. I am a person that tells you what he sees from watching tape. I am a fan of no team. Okay, let's just put that out there. But I will tell you this. This team will win the NFC South this year if they bring in a formidable quarterback, just a mid-tier quarterback, even Kyle Trask. Let me tell you how good this team is going to be, because if I know anything about this management for the Buccaneers, they are going to protect their quarterback, and they will get some hosses up there to go ahead and run the football. You will have a top 10 offense in the National Football League. You're going to have a top 5 rushing attack in the National Football League, one of the biggest turnarounds in football from 31st all the way to in the top 5. I'm telling you, that is how good this offense can be. And a dummy could play quarterback behind.
Hey, Harry,
you can have a high, hold on. You could have a high school coordinator on the offense with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and the two hosses back there. This is going to be a real solid team. NFC South, you're on notice. This team has not folded. These are the Bucs, and they're here to stay.
To your point, hold on. Let's come back here. To your point, this NFC South is a winnable division at the end of the day, because you're not sure what the Saints are going to do. You're not sure what the Panthers are going to do. You're not sure what the Falcons are going to do. And, of course, they definitely need to fill that offensive coordinator. I'm not ready to sit here and say they're going to win 13 games, but with the talent they have and with the distractions being
Coach of the year. You didn't let me finish. When he has that season, like I told you, Todd Bowles will be coach of the year.
Okay. That remains to be seen, because you're very high on Todd Bowles. I'm not.
No, I love Todd Bowles.
I just know what happens when you have a defensive-minded coach with a defense that this team has, and you have one running back that's got 0 mileage on the tires, who's just waiting for an opportunity. Do you know who this running back, this rookie this year, reminds me of? Let me tell you who he reminded me of. He reminded me of a running back that played behind Walter Payton that sat for 2 years. 2 years by the name of Neil Anderson. And the first time he got the ball stuck in his hands, it was like a Coke bottle that you shook. He went 68 yards for a touchdown.
Guys,
I like that.
Here we thought that Harry was going to be under the weather tonight, and he comes out swinging. All right. I love it. I love it. This is what the sports web is all about. Don't say the P word again, Ray, please. All right.
I'm sorry.
Oh, just shut up. Alex, go ahead. Welcome to the Evolution.
Hi,
yes, 2 years anniversary of Super Bowl 55. Give me your thoughts.
Pussy.
Well, you're going to have to go ahead and excuse my voice, because I have been a little sick, but I still wanted to call in.
Okay, go ahead, my friend.
2 years ago today, huh? Man, time flies.
It does, doesn't it?
I didn't even realize that it's already been 2 years, hasn't it?
It
to
has.
This day, too, yeah.
Yep.
Which Alec is this?
This is Alex. This is not Alec. This is Alex. You always call him Alec. This is one of your favorite callers right here.
My boy Alex?
My guy, Alex. Yes, sir.
Yes,Ast, your favorite memory.
I got to say about that game.
Yes.
That had to have been the best minded game I've personally seen as a Buck fan in my 20 years. Everything was on point. I think they came out with the game plan. Unfortunately, something that I don't think really happened this year.
They ran the ball and played defense?
Oh my God. Yeah, right.
Basically. I'm sorry. Hey, listen, Harry, I'm not trying to be mean to you, buddy. I used to hate Harry's opinions, but damn it, he be coming up with some solid shit of late. but they did. But he's right. We ran the ball,
Yes, you ran the ball for 32 times, and you were absolutely balanced. But I still think that's a part of their offense. At the end of the day, I also think they made some adjustments, and they were able to have the talent. Now, what happened this year? I think it was BA. I think it's a combination of that. I think it's a combination of the offensive line. I think it's a combination of maybe Brady not necessarily being all there, not being able to make all the throws. Yes.
I'll tell you what I think it is, personally.
Okay.
What is it, buddy?
It's simply not having Arians as a head coach. That's it. It's just that simple. Offensive line, bullshit. Tom Brady, bullshit.
I love this kid. Let him talk.
I can't say pussy. Can you say BS on
Yes, really.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why, though. I'm gonna tell you why I'm giving you those opinions. because regardless of the injuries, regardless of there was just no discipline. You still had a solid team coming out each and every week. You had, like I said, we've been through this before. You had Tom Brady missing practices, going to weddings in the middle of a season. You had guys doing a free-for-all on the sidelines. It was just undisciplined. It was very undisciplined. And going back to a comment you guys made earlier, I think that's what this team lacked, because just the shit that you see on the sideline is just stuff that would never happen under the management of Arians. But putting all that aside, I've called you guys last week and I said, talking about our next quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen a lot of opinions. I've heard like a Baker Mayfield and stuff. I actually wanted to call and ask you guys a question.
What a great
Why
pickup
is
that would
everybody
be.
Why is everybody so against actually giving Kyle Trask a chance?
I'm not. I'll interrupt
not.
you right there. I want him. I want to see what the kid can do.
Let's
I'm
do
telling
this.
you right now, especially with
this.
that receiving core, with
Yes,
that
yes.
running game, and when you fix that
Yes.
offensive line,
Yes.
Kyle Trask, he's not really mobile, but
I've got a
anybody
chub.
would be
I'm chubbed
anybody.
over here. Half chub.
That's better than saying the P word.
Tom Brady's not mobile either. But
I know he's more mobile than Tom Brady is.
Oh, hell yes, he is.
Great, put the
Yes.
camera down. We got to see.
No, he's not, and don't do that at all.
There you go. Right. Oh, here you
Out
go.
of here. There you go. That's what you get. Enough of you. All right, let's talk about this. Trask. Why would I like to see him? I don't think this organization wants to see him, because if they did, they would have already given him an opportunity to beat out Blaine Gabbert. He's not able to beat out Blaine Gabbert. With that being said, this team has been through the rebuild before. You don't know what you have. Eventually, they're going to have to figure it out. I just knowing Jason Light's able to turn the page. And I think right now, the reason why you don't go with the Kyle Trask is because you don't want those growing pains. You don't want.
know
I
what,
think
Peter?
Pete. I think you're wrong, Pete.
Peter.
I
I
think
think
you're
Peter.
wrong.
Hold on, Ray. I think Peter needs to give us 20 Hail Marys
And an
and
Our
15
Father.
Okay, and an Our Father and 10 push-ups for that blasphemous
Now,
remark.
Pete, let me tell you something. Pete,
What was that? What blasphemy? Hold on. What blasphemous remark?
If you
well, no,
don't
you said
think,
Jason
if you
Light's
don't
got to
think,
make.
hold on,
Go
if
ahead.
you don't think that Kyle Trask is going to beat out Blaine Gabbert this year, bro,
Oh.
I want to see what's in that crack pipe.
Well,
you got
I
in your
mean,
test drawer.
Let me
guys,
tell you something.
let me tell you something. He hasn't been able to
Yeah.
beat out Blaine Gabbert.
But here, Pete, he hasn't, because Blaine Gabbert, from the time he came in, Blaine Gabbert would have won this starting job from Jameis Winston in 2019 had he not broken his collarbone against the Dolphins in the third
Preach on,
preseason
Ray.
game. Had he not broken his collarbone in the third preseason game, he'd have taken his job over. He had this no brisket, no biscuit offense
Dude,
locked down.
He's
And then by
13 he's 13-39 his career. Enough.
But
with
he-
excuses.
but he had this offense. No, but what I'm saying though is that I'm
Listen,
saying
if this
is
team-
that
listen, let me
the
put
reason-
this out there.
He beat up on the Lions last time.
Okay, great. And I'm meaning this team. Great. Okay, but if this team wanted Blaine Gabbert as their quarterback, they wouldn't have pursued Tom Brady.
Pete, let me.
hold on,
Hey,
hold on,
okay.
hold on. Let me finish.
okay, go ahead.
If this team
Pete's got to
felt
make
like
go full screen, Pete.
that's right. If Kyle Trask were the future quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he would have been able to beat out Blaine Gabbert, and he's not been able to beat that out. And furthermore, on top of that, with all this stuff coming out about him being a slow learner and not being
You're
able
never
to
gonna
process,
He's
You're never
not.
turn down the goat. I'm sorry, Peter. You can't. You're never gonna turn down the goat. No
I'm
matter
just
who's
saying.
doing it.
I mean, if Blaine Gabbert,
Hey,
Kyle
if-
Trask, and the second coming of Jesus Christ of these quarterbacks,
That's
There
my
you go.
line.
Hail Marys.
That's
Let's
my
go.
line.
Let's
Pete,
say it.
You know what,
with
Pete?
the
I
cat-
need the
wait,
controls
Harry, hold
off
on.
with his head.
Wait, I'm losing. I only got 2 minutes of battery. Let me just finish with this last thought, guys, and I'll be shutting up for the rest of the night. If
No
quarterback
chance.
with the I never shut up.
no
with the-
chance
with
with you.
with the cap problems with this team, and especially if Tom Brady will not do that 1-year extension and then retire after June 1st to give the Bucs more cap space. If quarterback is a position that Jason Light has to make a splash in to sell season tickets for the 2023 season, Bucs fans, we're in for a shitty season, because that's not the place where you want to spend your money this year. Jamal Dean, Sean Murphy-Bunting, offensive line, reiterating some other
so many
defensive
issues.
depth.
No matter where
If
you go, you got issues.
if you got to spend $30 million on a quarterback position to sell tickets in the 2023
It's not
season,
worth it, dude.
Guys,
it's
agree.
not gonna be worth it.
Who said they had to spend $30 million? Why did everybody assume you had to
well,
spend?
that's Derek Carr. That's Derek Carr.
That
No
is
one
a
looks at
If your
Right
option quarterback's going to
now.
cost you $30 million.
they're not going to pay $30 million. Nobody's going to pay $30 million for Derek Carr. At the most, you pay 15 to 20, and we know how much of a cap wizard Jason Light and this organization has been. So
keep kicking that can.
You know
Keep
what?
kicking that
why
can.
not? Why?
Why?
Piss on every one of you. Now I want Kyle Trask to come in here just so they could stick it
Kyle
right up your
Trask.
God-blessed
Kyle
earhole.
Trask.
Listen.
Brother, Pete, thanks for having me, brother. I got to go. I'm about to lose you guys now,
Right.
and disgracefully. Thank you so much for having me. I love you, brother. I'm looking forward. Again, 2 years to the day since the 55 Super Bowl. I love the memories. I hope we got some more shares coming in from all of our watchers out here. Thanks for having me. I know we get heated, but that's what the Sports Hub's all about.
Hey,
That's
Ray,
what
I'm
it's all
really
about,
surprised
yes.
you're on tonight because your hero's on TV. If you get home quick enough, he's
I'm
on.
taping. I'm taping.
Enough
I'm
of
taping.
you.
I'm taping the state.
He's
I'm
on
taping
for-
the.
Politics. Enough
I'm
of
He's
that
on, he's
nonsense.
on for 15 more
I'm
minutes.
taping the State of the Union. I'm taping it.
outta
So
here.
watch it now.
See you later.
Hey.
Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. Good stuff right there. We're going to go out to Chris Cup in a moment to get an update on the Magic game live for 24 Flicks at Amway Arena. Alex, go ahead and finish up here your point.
Hey guys. No, but honestly though, before I go,
Yes.
I do want to say going back to the whole cap space issue, I see where Ray and Harry are coming from, because at the end of the day, and with Cam Jordan coming out with that slick ass shit
Yeah,
shot for
we'll
Tom Brady.
address that in a little bit. Trust me. I'll be addressing that.
But the Saints, the Bucs do have a decent cap space issue. By the way, Cam Jordan must have forgot that the Saints have a worse cap space issue than we do. Dumbass. But anyway,
That was a good one, Andrew. I love that comment,
anyway,
Andrew.
Alex, not Andrew.
Hey, but
No,
anyway,
no. Andrew knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Andrew is kind of hanging off, just watching as the dust is settling.
Okay.
Hey, but
all right.
guys,
Good stuff.
guys, honestly though, real quick though, before I go, because like I said, I'm not doing too good tonight. But real quick though,
I hope you feel better, brother.
thanks, Guy. But real quick, the last thing I want to say is this: I still think you're not going to sit here and waste a first round draft quarterback that, at the end of the day, he has sat down behind the goat. He has learned a lot of experience. Yes, he probably has to take some snaps. He has some work to do. But I say save the money. Yes, I'm not going to sit there and say have a shit, 12
That's like
or
the
whatever.
fifth time I've heard Alex curse. I've never heard this man curse
Yeah,
one
I
time.
mean,
have I influenced you that
everybody's
bad,
really
Alex?
So much
tonight about
nonsense
this.
all week.
Yes.
I've heard so much nonsense all week, and I've
Alex,
heard it. But
get it.
Alex, have I corrupted you? Because if I did, I'm
No.
so sorry, son.
But I will say one thing. I used to hate Harry's opinions because I thought I thought you were like a Tampa Bay hater, but
I'm not.
He did be putting out some valid points, and every time I in a discussion with them, I'm like, you know what, he did be making some sense.
All right, Alex, will you get that off the screen? Alex, great
Hang
point.
on, you know what
as
it is?
always.
The
Yeah.
Lord's breasts and my bears, and right
Okay.
behind it is my Bucks.
Last thing.
Okay.
Hey, but the last thing. Hey, last thing before I go. In my opinion, just give Kyle Trask a chance. Let the Bucs.
Let's give Peace a chance. Let's give Kyle Trask a chance.
Let the Bucs.
You're just a Buck hater, Pete.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you.
Oh
the
yeah,
reality
I
of the
think it's
situation.
now him. It's not Harry the Greek.
Listen,
it's him. He's the pessimist
here's
here.
Here's the reality of the situation, guys. If they go with Kyle Trask, it's absolutely a rebuild. I do not have that much confidence in Kyle Trask. At the end of the day, I'm sorry.
How could you? You never seen him play. It's because you're a Florida Gator hater.
But here's the thing. I heard the same thing when Jameis Winston was the starting quarterback, and I'm a Florida State homer. So now it goes back on you. The tables are turned, my friend. And I'll tell you another thing, the history, and hold on, Ed, I know you want to call in and talk to Harry because you guys have a love affair going on.
Another one going?
On the evolution of sports.
Don't you dare bring him on. I am not in the mood for Ed's crap tonight.
I'm talking now. You guys listen to me, all right?
Yeah.
This Buccaneer team and their history does not have an opportunity. They do not develop young quarterbacks. So I don't have a lot of confidence. And I'll tell you right now, I still feel like this team can be a playoff team. Why not kick the can down the road? If you're all about Tom Brady coming to this organization and trying to, have that same prestige, if you will, and have Brady coming to this team and rubbing off on it, rubbing off on the fact of wanting to win, then you go with a veteran quarterback, not Kyle Trask. That's my point.
Last thing.
Yes.
Last thing. I got to go for real.
Yes.
Listen, I agree on the fact that I agree on the fact that I do not think that the Bucs are going to go from a complete rebuild. I do agree on that. That's not what's going to happen. As a fan, as a personal opinion, I would like to see Kyle Trask have the opportunity to see what he
if
can
you
show
have
us.
Kyle Trask as your starting quarterback, you're going to a rebuild. You're going to a rebuild if you have Kyle Trask.
Go for it. But don't go for it. But I'm telling you.
Yeah, because you need a veteran to hand the ball off.
Don't hit yourself harder with the bigger cap space issue going out for like a Derek Carr. Go for like a Jimmy G or cheaper option.
Bro,
so much better.
I'm not a capologist. I want this team to win, and I want it to win consistently. Good stuff, Alex.
Guys, I gotta go. I'll see you guys.
All right.
We love you, Alex.
Great stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Really quick, let me get you out of the lobby here. I'm going to get you out of the lobby. I want to just keep you in the lobby here. Let's go out to Chris Cuff. You got an update there live from Amway Arena as the Orlando Magic. Hold off on the calls here. We got Chris Cuff at 24 Flicks. Go ahead and give us the update here on the Orlando Magic. What happened tonight versus the New York Knicks? Welcome to the Evolution, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. Pretty much the Magic lost to the Knicks 102-98. They just faltered down the stretch. Little mistakes messed them up, and the Knicks took advantage of it. You have Jalen Brunson really did the brunt of the damage, 25 points, followed by Julius Randle with 22. Markelle Fultz led the Magic with 21 points, which is part of the problem. Paolo was held to very little, 0 points at the most in the first half. Got more aggressive in the second half and managed to score 18. But everything was even, turnovers, rebounds. The key, according to head coach Jamal Mosley, 11 offensive rebounds for the Knicks, which helped them out at the end. And also one more point really quick. Kyle Trask equals a rebuild. Stop fooling yourselves.
Thank you.
Ready for a rebuild.
Thank you. There you go.
Wake up.
Chris Cup right
Wake
there.
Up.
4 Flicks show.
You're right. And and I'll tell you what, guys, you just timestamp this, okay? This is why I make money, okay? This is why I make money. And I am already, as soon as the Super Bowl is over, I'm betting the over on the amount of wins. And I really hope Kyle Trask is the quarterback. And I'm not a Kyle Trask fan because you know what? You don't have to be Joe Montana in this offense that's coming up that has to go, here you go, Leonard. Here you go, brother. Oh, wait a minute. 8 in the box.
Who's
you know what? You could run the offense. They've got that good of a team.
Okay.
The end.
We'll see. Well, now with Kyle Trask at the controls. Chris, your favorite memory from Super Bowl 55 here 2 years ago?
Super Bowl 55. You mean with the Buccaneers? Were they in the Super Bowl?
It wasn't that long ago, Chris.
Yes,
it wasn't
2
that
years
long
ago.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
I know you're getting up to my age, brother, and it's
so
a little hard.
long ago.
Hey, would you shut up?
I'm just thinking about today. Brady is gone.
Who
and
did
the
they
Bucs are
play?
gonna
Let
be
me see.
Terrible this year, and that's what I'm thinking about. It was great seeing them win.
Right.
You know, it was great seeing the Cowboys win all those Super Bowls they won too, and they all kind of file the same now at this point.
See, what do you expect? This is a Cowboy fan right here.
It's rebuild time. Rebuild time. Get ready. Get your big boy pants on, Tampa.
All right, man. Good stuff. Thanks a lot for the update.
And they call me the hater. Wow.
Thank you, guys. God bless.
All right,
God
there
bless,
you go.
Chris.
Take care. Up 24 Flicks right there, updating us about the Orlando Magic who fell tonight 102-98 to the New York Knicks. So there you go. We got all of our people out there. You got to run or you're going to hang out a little bit longer?
I got a few minutes, little brother.
All right.
Not much, but a few minutes.
All right. You got your favorite caller calling in here.
Really? I got to go. I'll see you later.
I'm going to get out to the comments in just a moment. Let's go out to Mr. Ed. Ed, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with your favorite host, Mr. Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire.
Don't do it, Greek. Don't do it to Greek. Hey, Greek, Harry, I got to apologize. I did come out here one night and rip you apart and call you a buck hater. And that I was just pissed off because you were actually saying some things that are probably going to happen at some point. I don't know if Mike Evans is going to be a Bear, but he might get traded though.
No, I don't want him in Chicago. Don't get me. I would take him. It would just cost too much. I want him to stay right here. I want that man to finish his career here in Tampa.
but I got nothing but love for you, and I'm really sorry that I came out here and I ripped you like that.
What are you being sorry about?
No, don't be sorry about it.
What is all this sorry about? You know,
because I was wrong, dude.
Okay, don't be sorry. You have an opinion. You put it out there. You put it out there. I don't hate you. There's nothing personal.
I love Ed. You don't understand. Ed, the next time I see you, I'm buying the wings and the beer, brother. I mean, you're awesome, dude. Trust me.
When do you want to do that? I'll take that right now.
You know what? Let me tell you something. You're one of us. You're one of the you're one of the reasons why these shows continue to go. And like I said a couple of shows ago, when I looked right in the camera and went, and if I pissed you off, I did my job.
That's it. That's it. There's a reason.
Pissed me off at the time, but after thinking about it, you were right, Joe. But anyway, let's get to this Kyle Trask thing and Blaine Gabbert. First of all, this kid has been mostly deactivated for games, and now you want him to go to be a starter. It's not going to happen. You want to develop a quarterback, you got to let him be the second man, the number 2 quarterback for at least a year or two to understand what happens during games. This is the NFL, not college.
Well, unfortunately, inside information has told me the reason why he was deactivated and not number 2, it wasn't because of his ability. Put your big boy pants on, ladies and gentlemen. That was Mr. Brady. Those were his suggestions. The end.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if it was his suggestion, then I'm probably going to take his suggestion and go to the bank with it because he is the greatest of all time. And I'm kind of wondering. Listen, I'm kind of wondering if he tipped the Bucs off and says, you know what, this kid doesn't necessarily have it. He would know. I mean, you can say whatever you want to about Tom Brady, but maybe
how would he know when he's hanging out with his friends for 2 weeks during the preseason?
When he's out there in practice, he was able to see him for the last couple of years in practice and situations.
Get your big boy pants on, because I really hope this guy's quarterback in the team. You know what?
You know what? I hope he is. And here's what.
You bring in another quarterback with him.
I hope he is quarterback in this team, so everybody can get what they want. And when he sucks. And when you guys are not winning any games, you guys go ahead and cry and go.
Well, you put him on a short. Hold on, Peter. You put him on a short leash. He's not a rookie. This guy's a veteran. Hold on.
If you're going to do this, you do it right. If you're going to collapse for Caleb, which is what a lot of Bucs fans want to do, you do it right. You don't do it half-ass. You do it right. Collapse for Caleb.
No, buddy. If that's what you're going to do, then you break the whole team down.
And I'm telling you right now, does that make any sense that Todd Bowles and Jason Light want to do that with their job security on the line? No, it doesn't make any sense. That's the reason
why you get a mid-tier quarterback and you let him fight it out.
Is Derek Carr a mid-tier quarterback?
No.
Okay. That's what you go for.
They're not going to spend that kind of money for him.
I don't know how much money he's going to be, but at the end of the day, you have to go for it. If you have to save your job, that's what you have to do. Everybody's talking about cap and all this other stuff.
Here's my reason. Here's my reason for saying this, and I think Ed might even agree with me. With all the teams that are vying for a quarterback, Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina, Indianapolis, Washington. I mean, the list keeps going on and on and on.
Great.
Okay. If he gets cut, and he's more than likely going to be cut by the Raiders, he's going to command a bigger paycheck. I think unless he just wants to go play for a team and take less money. But you know what? There's only one Tom Brady that's out there.
But here's the thing that people are not considering. Maybe he does want to play with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Maybe he does. Okay. Also, on top of that, Tampa's a nice place to live. New Orleans, not so much. Okay. Washington,
I get it.
So much. Furthermore, what is better? What is better than this? And I put
it's still a business, Pete.
I get it's a business, but what if I told you that the quarterback that Tom Brady criticized eventually took his starting job? I mean, how sweet would that be?
That
for
would
him?
be a big story.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you not rule that possibility out? Maybe he's that petty. He's not going to let the Raiders trade him for anything. He's going to try to walk out of there. And then a lot of people felt like you did and everybody else out there that this team underachieved, which they did with 8 wins. They still have talent. It's not like you have to tear it down, which a lot of people want to tear it down. You don't have to tear it down. Derek Carr comes here and starts for this team. They're going to be a playoff team if they fix the offensive line and whoever they have calling the plays, because automatically.
What kind of a percentage are you going to give the Tampa Bay organization of getting Derek Carr? I want to hear you say it now.
I would say from all these reports right now, from Charles Robinson, I would say 75 to 85%.
You name the amount of money right now, and I will give you 2-1 on your money that the Buccaneers do not sign Derek Carr.
Who do they sign then?
I didn't ask that. I'm going to give you 2-1 on your money that the Bucs signed Derek Carr. If they did, this is a perennial playoff team. This is a team that I guarantee you will win the division.
You already
This is the team that would do that. But I'm just saying they can't afford him. There's going to be too many teams vying for his services.
I've heard this throughout the years, and Ed, just hold on, we'll get back to you in a moment. I've heard this nonsense throughout the years. I heard this in the Super Bowl year when they weren't going to be able to sign Gronk, and they were able to sign Gronk. I heard this when they couldn't sign Antonio Brown, and they were able to sign Antonio Brown. I heard this when they couldn't sign Leonard Fournette, and they signed Leonard Fournette. If they want to make
that was because of Tom Brady. That wasn't because of Jason Light.
It is because of Jason Light. It is because of the organization over there, because they know how to work numbers. You don't think they went into having a plan? Do you really think they thought that Tom Brady, they thought he was going to stay, and if he didn't stay, they weren't going to have a plan to make this cap work? Everybody talks about the cap every year. The Saints, for the last 5 to friggin' 10 years, have been in cap trouble, and somehow they're able to sign all their draft picks every year. They're able to make free agency moves. Don't give me this stuff about cap. The Glazers have money. They know how to work that money. They know how to move that money around. If they want somebody, if they want to win.
I hope I'm wrong.
Okay.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope they do get a Derek Carr, but if they don't, go out and get yourself a formidable mid-tier quarterback.
Possibility.
And you bring him in and you make it a competition, because this team is good enough to win a division with a mediocre quarterback.
I don't want to take any chances. I don't want to take it.
You won't have to.
But I don't want to take any chances with the mid-tier quarterback. I want to go after the best quarterback. If the Bucs went after Tom Brady, I want them to do the same thing with Derek Carr. I want them to go after the best quarterback that's on the market right now. Whether you think he is or not, he's the best choice. Jimmy Garoppolo, he would be in that conversation, but the guy
Jimmy Garoppolo's.
He can't listen.
That's what it is. Okay, that guy can't stay healthy.
He can't stay healthy, but he'd be the perfect player for what you're saying. He's a managing quarterback. He can manage the game. DLG, you can run the ball. He's not going to turn over the ball. He's not going to win you some games, but he's also not going to lose you some games. And Baker Mayfield, if the Rams allow him to go, that would be somebody that you look at, because
that would. Let me tell you something. You want to talk about a quarterback I'd be excited to come to Tampa Bay? It would be Baker Mayfield. But unfortunately, I've said it and I'll say it again. He's Matt Stafford's replacement. Do you understand?
He
is not going anywhere. This quarterback in him, I'm sorry,
he's a free agent. He's a free agent.
He's getting signed. Trust me, he's getting signed. If they let him go, it would be the worst mistake that the Rams could ever make.
I mean, it's certainly a possibility, because if
would love to see him here in Tampa.
I mean, you could see Todd Monken and Baker Mayfield, which is the year when they got together, the Browns made the playoffs. I mean, that's an interesting a situation that you could see absolutely, pan out. But I don't know if it's going to happen. You're exactly right. The Rams may hold the race.
Did you see Bandit say hello to you when he passed by?
I did. The Rams may hold on to him. Ed, go ahead. Finish up.
Yeah, I don't think Baker's coming here either. I think it's either going to be Derek Carr or it's going to be Trask. And if they go with Trask,
here you go, Uncle Peter.
Okay.
They're going to rebuild. And so also, I heard this crazy thing, and I want the Greek to talk about this, that the Bucs were going to trade to get the Bears quarterback.
No, that's
take them.
That's just conjuncture at this point. That's all that is. That's just all speculation. I get it. We do it on this show. People say, well, Justin.
Do you have any clue what it would cost the Buccaneers to get Justin Fields?
3 number ones, because the Bears, that's how much they value him. At least 3 number ones. No.
Craziest thing I ever heard. But crazier things have happened. And another thing, I want to add this.
Yes.
People said that we weren't going to win with Tom Brady. People
I
said
don't remember that.
they were going to win
I
the
definitely
Super
remember that. I
Bowl.
remember when he was signed, people were saying he's washed up and everything else. Can't throw
Yeah.
the ball deep. I mean, I remember everything that season. That was what the whole show was about, is share the memories of that game and of that season.
Say one more thing, and I'm going to.
Yes.
But here's the deal. It just makes sense not to put Trask in there now unless they improve the offensive line. You'll just get the kid killed. End of story.
Agree.
They're not going to do that to him.
They're gonna. They have to improve the line, man. They really do.
They do have to improve the line. Good stuff, Ed. Appreciate the call as always.
How about them Bucs, baby?
I don't know. I
Oh
guess.
yeah, there you go.
There.
Keep playing that. That sounds so good having Byron Leftwich in here.
Well, I'm going to play the sound effect because it sounds cool.
There
So,
you go, bud.
All right,
Keep
go
playing
ahead.
it.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead and promote yourself because I know you got to get out of here. I know you're under the weather.
Oh, you're just trying to kick me off.
No, I mean, if
Uh-huh.
you listen, you want to stay around, you can
No.
stay around. We can argue all night long.
I
about
just
it.
love torturing your ass tonight.
You're not torturing me at all. I'm just
Here,
telling
come here,
you.
buddy.
that's
Here, let
just
me kiss you.
Yeah, will you shut up and be quiet? All right, stay around then. Your
Nah, I
choice.
gotta go.
All right, go ahead and promote yourself.
I'm Harry the Greek. Thanks for tuning in this evening. And Peter, always a pleasure having me on the Sports Web. I love being your co-host, and I love having you as a co-host on 1252 Sports. Don't forget to tune in this Sunday morning, the morning of the Super Bowl, where we're going to have special guests that Peter doesn't even know about. We're going to talk about proposition bets. We're going to talk about who's going to win the football game and why, and where are the correct bets going to be made. I sure hope you've been tuning into the show from before, because I'll tell you what, we had a stellar year again this year, and we made an awful lot of money. And Pete, can't wait to see you soon. And again, I always say two things now. If I pissed you off, I did my job. I'm Harry the Greek. Keep your bets low and your returns high. Take care.
All right, good stuff there. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire at 1252 Chicago Sports. Little disagreement tonight. That's okay. That's all right. We like that on the show. Lots of passion tonight. Get on the phone line if you have a memory. 2-year anniversary of the Bucs beating the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Of course, 727-409-7528. It's 727-409-7528. Troy Polamalu says first, thanks a lot for tuning in. As always,
Flawless victory.
Mike says, happy anniversary to the underdogs. Just like 20 years ago, everyone thought the Raiders are going to win. They thought KC would do the same. Shocking the world. Love it. Love it. Let's go! Troy says, bro, where are you at? Right here. Christopher says, hey, guys, happy anniversary. My favorite memory is watching Mahomes running for his life. 497 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Good stuff, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go 2020 year of the Bay. Absolutely. I'd rather watch the Sports Web or anything sports related than anything political. Comment of the year. I don't talk politics on this show. If you want somebody to talk politics, go to the other ones. Sorry. It's a waste of time and it's frustrating. It's like talking to these guys tonight about Kyle Trask and Derek Carr. Who do you want to see the Bucs go after a quarterback out there? We'll put it out there. Is it Kyle Trask? Should the Bucs give him a chance? Will it be Derek Carr, who, by the way, the story was tonight that the Raiders have granted permission to the New Orleans Saints to see if he wants to go there. We'll see if he's traded there. I don't think he's traded. Why would Derek Carr help the Raiders out? Why would there be any team out there willing to offer compensation where all you have to do is play chicken with the Raiders and hopefully they cut him? Because if they don't by February 15th, he's $40 million against the cap. All right, let's go out to Ron here. Ron says, Peter Blake in Tampa Bay. Ray, thank you very much. Tulio says, in both Super Bowl years, the Glazers made blockbuster deals during the offseason to win those years. Although both teams were just a piece away from going all the way, I'm curious to see what they will do this year, needing many pieces. And that is the big time question at the end of the day. Who's your quarterback? Who's your offensive coordinator? And yes, the impending cap problems. God, you guys are killing me with the cap, and I understand it because it is a concern at the end of the day. What can they do? I have faith in Jason Light and the Tampa Bay Buccaneer organization that they have a plan going forward to free up cap so they can be more than competitive. I do not think they're mailing it in this year. I do not think they're going through a rebuild. Would that make any sense? If I'm Todd Bowles and you tell me I'm going through a rebuild, I'm asking for an extra year, I would have not signed off to come back. I would have had him fire me because it's a no-lose situation. You can't win. It's a no-win situation. Not a no-lose, a no-win. Oh, I finally get my own staff and we're going through a rebuild. Does that make any sense at all? No.
This guy sucks.
So again, they have some pieces to fill. They have some free agents. According to Pewter Report, 2 of those landed on Pro Football Focus, top 100. Jamel Dean is one of them, and Levante David. Everybody else, I mean, yeah, they're depth players, but really, I mean, a lot of people getting upset about it. At the end of the day, this is an 8-9 football team. So you're going to make some big changes at the end of it, whether you have cap problems or not. They underachieved. They didn't get it done. No big-time loss. There are some players out there. William Golston, Nacho. Those are some guys you may re-sign, possibly Anthony Nelson. I don't know. They may go in a different direction. So they definitely have some decisions that they're going to have to make going forward. It's going to be a busy offseason. I'm not ready to sit here and say that the Glazers and Jason Light are ready to call it a day and say, oh, we're just in full rebuild mode. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense to come out with the comments and say Tom Brady and the effect that he's had or the impact that he's had in this organization, and then all of a sudden we're going through a rebuild. It makes no sense to me. That's not the Tom Brady way. I'm sorry. It's not. Glad JPP got his second ring now, if only he had something to put it on. The Super Bowl trophy is one of the goofiest trophies in the planet. Mickey Loomis is the Honey Badger GMs. He don't give a damn. That's a good comment. He is.
Oh, yeah.
And he's also the general manager that has been under the spotlight for the last 5 years. Well, the Saints have all these cap problems, and yet they're able to still sign their draft picks. The Saints have these cap problems, and they're able to sign their own players and sign players out there to be competitive, namely a Honey Badger, right? Didn't necessarily work out, but they're able to do it. So, you know, all this cap problems, and they'll figure that out. I'm not a capologist. I'm not sitting here crunching numbers. I told you that. Hell, I failed math in college. That's why I'm here right now. I'm not going to sit here and crunch numbers for you and say it's not possible for the Bucs to do this and do that if they want to. If the Glazers want to be competitive, they're going to be competitive. If they don't, they want to rebuild, then it's a rebuild. I don't see it happening. I don't. Doesn't make any sense to me. That's America for you, says Troy. Remember, Carr has to approve any trade offer as well. Exactly. And this stems from the report from Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports. The growing buzz from the Senior Bowl is connecting the Buccaneers and Carr. The move could potentially make sense for both parties in terms of free agency. Robinson goes on to say the buzz here at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, is connecting them, the Bucs, with Derek Carr. Like, that's probably the Derek Carr destination. I only believe that if the Bucs are like, let's not reboot completely. Let's not just nuke it right now. Start all over again. Let's see if we can maybe put this back together again. Look, if I'm Todd Bowles, we're sitting there going, I don't know if I'll survive a reboot. Any coach in that position is sitting there going, I got to keep trying to win now. Win now. Sorry, I don't think you're winning now with Kyle Trask. Maybe I'm a pessimist, but I haven't seen anything that would tell me besides the fact of what he did in the SEC with the Florida Gators. That's college football. That's not the NFL. Everybody's like, well, just give him a chance. You know, he gave Jameis Winston a chance. I mean, what is this? We're giving out participation trophies. You got to give Kyle Trask a chance. Let's give Blaine Gabbert a chance. Hell, let's give Ryan Griffin a chance because he's been on this team for so long. Let's do that too. Let's not try to win games. Let's give everybody a chance. Let's make everybody warm and cuddly. No, let's win games. Let's see who the quarterback is that's going to give us the best chance to win going forward. And in my opinion, I don't think it's Kyle Trask. Sorry to burst your bubble out there, Florida Gator fans. But again, going back to the report, Carr participated in 4 Pro Bowls, 2015, 16, 17, and of course 2022, which I don't know what the hell that was the other day. If you watch that Pro Bowl games, it put me to sleep. Definitely a cure for insomnia. That's for sure. Those people walking behind brother are like, what on earth is that guy doing streaming in the streets late at night? Andrew says, don't take Shea Turney, who they've interviewed. We'll see if that works out. Bucs should trade for Justin Fields. That's not happening. I told you that already. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's a pipe dream at this point. Bears are not giving up on Justin Fields. And if you got the trade for Justin Fields, you're giving up at least 3 first-round picks or more. It's not happening. Troy says, Bucs will win 13 games next season. Here he is on that new drug called Flacca that's hitting up the streets real hard. That's actually a pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it's not.
This guy sucks.
Bring in Stetson Bennett, Shady Brady, Scott. Again, I'm 68 and I could quarterback the Bucs and still win the NFC South. I don't know about that, buddy. Not with the offensive line. I don't think you would last a game, let alone a quarter. He didn't want to play for the Bucs. Got his hand stuck in the Dolphin jar. We've talked about it. He did choose playing for the Bucs this year over his marriage, though. Donovan Smith is such a lover. He wasn't even invited to the Pro Bowl games. There was a report from Rick Stroud that he could be cut, and that would be $15 million that you would be able to use for your cap. That's where your money starts to come from. That's where you start to restructure. That's where you can make things work. I have all the confidence in the world that the Bucs will be able to do that. James says, you saw in the NFC Championship game with Scotty Miller. Come on, man. BA was the man, and Todd Bowles is exactly who he's always been, a solid coordinator. I agree. And until that changes, I'm going to think the same thing. But do I have confidence in another quarterback, another offensive coordinator, his staff? I have to have a little bit of confidence. Maybe he gets over some of the mistakes that he's made during his coaching career. But again, it always goes back to this, right, James? Some guys are just better coordinators at the end of the day than coaches, and maybe Todd Bowles is that. No one is praising that clown sandwich as a new Bucs head coach. Expect one guy in Florida named Peter Blake. I think there's a lot of coaches out there, or a lot of executives, if you will, of the NFL that were praising him. That's why he was getting interviews there.
This guy sucks.
Andrew Ray just said Brady likes pussycats. Great. Scott Greek, just send those people to me. I'm a real Brady hater. Nothing wrong with being a Brady hater. Nothing wrong with hating a man that cheated all his career. Andrew, the Bears weren't a team this year. Christopher, agree. Harry, Andrew, Todd Bowles has the personality of a soap dish. Leaders have followers. No one follows a soap dish. James, Todd Bowles is a solid coordinator. His head coaching record for the Jets is how he is. And again, we talked about it on this show. You give him the benefit of the doubt because at the time, the Jets are a god-awful organization. You know, one player we have not mentioned in this conversation of being the future quarterback of the Bucs, that's Sam Darnold. He could be out there. Is he the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers? He could be a free agent. Is that somebody that the Bucs fans would be interested in? Who are you interested in? Who do you want to see quarterback this team in 2023? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Of course, 727-409-7528. It's 727-409-7528. Okay, great. Thank you for that update on cartoons. Christopher says we got a lot of players on defense to bring back with little cap space. Can't say, says it. James, the Harry the Greek Kiss My Ass Club is officially open, folks. That's funny. So many curse words tonight. You're all from Jersey or something. Yeah, everybody's fired up tonight with the curse words and everything like that. I kind of try to keep it a little bit low key, but I always say 3 things on this show. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. I will say this, if anybody tells me that Kyle Trask is the starting quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm going to throw out nonsense. I don't believe, but might be wrong. That's where they may go. That's where they may have to go at the end of the day. I'm not necessarily thinking so. He would like Baker Mayfield. Laugh out loud. Yes, we are talking Super Bowl. Yes, Chris. I think Chris is running a little bit late. He thought that I said 9. I said 9:30. He's got 10:30. So yes, he would like Baker Mayfield. Laugh out loud. Sandra Nagel says, watching the best show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web, Amped Up Sports, 1252 Chicago Sports, Tampa Bay Ray. Come on, Kyle Trask. She is a Kyle Trask fan. I don't know why, but she is. There's lots of people out there that are Kyle Trask fans. People say, give him a chance. We'll see. We'll see what the Bucs do. I'm not banking on it. In fact, if I were a betting man, I would go to Vegas and say that Kyle Trask is not going to be your starting quarterback of the Bucs in 2023. Even though he is the only guy that's under contract right now, right? There you go. Where the hell is Roger Shue? I don't know where he's at. Trask will cost just 1.5 next year with all the players we have to sign back. But really, where's he taking you? Is he taking you anywhere? Is he going to take you anywhere at all? Do you honestly think that Kyle Trask is going to take you anywhere? I don't know. He's not the best quarterback in the world. I'm hearing somebody in the background there. The peanut gallery is talking. $10 says he has a battery pack. Peter's hero will never be on TV again. He still wears one glittery glove once a month to honor him.
That's good enough to suck right there.
The shadow knows. I bet it does. All we are saying is give Trask a chance. Obviously. I mean, obviously you're saying it. But here's the thing. All you will say, give Trask a chance, and as soon as he sucks, then you guys will get on this program and say, well, the Bucs, they messed up. They shouldn't have gave this guy a chance. He's a bust already. I mean, half of the fans right now already think he's a bust. I would say he's been disappointing. You don't know what to expect. But I would be very concerned about somebody that's not able to process an offense quick enough. That's all I'm saying. And again, going back to the history of this organization, when have they ever developed a young quarterback? You want to go down the list? Shall we do it? I mean, Doug Williams. Yeah, he was good. Well, what else? Vinny? Steve Young? How many? I mean, somebody says Doug Williams. Doug Williams, what, in the 70s? The late 70s? That's how long ago? Vinny, Steve Young, Chris Chandler, Josh Freeman. You want any of those guys? None? Trent Dilfer? No? Do you remember that? Do you remember Trent Dilfer? He had some comments with the 30 for 30. I mean, you've never been able to do it. So why do you think you can do it now? Jameis Winston, did you get enough of that? They had 5 years. You want that experience again? I mean, I guess it's Gators versus Seminoles, right? That's how it works. I want the best quarterback that's going to give this team the best chance to win. I don't care what school he went to. I don't care. But when have the Bucs been able to develop a young quarterback? Chris Sims comes to mind. How about Chris Sims? You want Chris Sims? Stack up all the quarterbacks in Bucs history. It is a quarterback graveyard. It is right up there with the Cleveland Browns. It is right up there with the Chicago Bears. Sorry to hurt your feelings, Harry, but it's true. So Kyle Trask is the answer. Okay. All right. Blaine Gabbert is no build. Blaine Gabbert is 13-39. Where does this come from? Like, he's a backup quarterback. He's never going to get another starting job in the National Football League. He's a backup for a reason. Trask is up to Trask. Harry doesn't say it because so low. 86 just saying. Mike, speaking of the Orlando Magic, I'm going to the Heat Magic game on Saturday. Very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew, so can I enjoy shrimp and grits when I'm getting $45 million per a year? I don't think anybody's getting $45 million per year. I mean, if you're talking about somebody, that'd probably be Lamar Jackson. Derek Carr is not going to get $45 million a year. Enough of that. That's not happening. Playoffs. Yes, playoffs. Christopher Cole, Glazers already tried to rebuild and it didn't work. Thank you. Let the truth set you free.
Yeah.
Let the truth set you free. Let the truth set you free. I feel like a preacher on this program, honestly. Like I'm preaching to you guys, but do you remember that? Do you remember the rebuild? Do you remember the great rebuild? Josh Freeman, Raheem Morris, you had a 10-win team there. Then you fire him. Then you start all over again with Greg Schiano, and you go with the greatness of Mike Glennon. There's another young quarterback that you couldn't develop, who stole all kinds of money from other teams in the National Football League. But let's go with the rebuild. Okay, you go with the rebuild. 09, loser. 10, you had 10 wins. You still didn't make the playoffs. 11, loser. 12, 7-9. 13, loser. Fire Greg Schiano. Lovie Smith comes in. Worst team in the league. First round pick to Jameis Winston. It's going to turn around. It doesn't. 1 year with Dirk Cutter, 9-7. After that, losing. BA first year, 7-9. Tom Brady comes to town. You win a Super Bowl. There's your rebuild. You want another rebuild? Go through 83, 84, 85, 86, 87. Not to kill you Bucs fans out there, but some of you are too young to remember those days. A lot of people talk about the creamsicle days of, well, bring those back. Those are losing days. Those are days where the games were blacked out. Those were games where you had young quarterbacks and you had players, but the team didn't spend money. Rebuild. Perpetual rebuild. You want to go through that? Everybody's so excited. Let's rebuild it. Let's tear it all down. Let's go trade Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Trade all the pieces they have here. Because I'm all about doing it the way you need to do it. You don't do anything half-ass. If you're going to do it, you do it right. You're tearing it down, you tear everything down. You trade players, you get picks, you go get your quarterback next year or this year. You try out Kyle Trask. You collapse for Caleb. But don't complain if you're losing. And it doesn't necessarily work out because there's no guarantee for it to work out. Let's keep it running. Let's see if they can get a quarterback in here that can use those weapons. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go out to this guy right here. Running a little bit late tonight, but I'm glad to have him, Mr. Chris Pinson of KOLR. And you know what? I didn't even think about it, man. You're in Missouri, right?
Yeah, brother. I'm in Springfield, Missouri.
And I said 9:30. What an idiot. Of course, it's an hour. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Lots of talk tonight, but I got to start out with this, Chris. And, of course, local here. Also worked at Gainesville, covering the Florida Gators. First and foremost, your greatest memory from 2 years ago when the Bucs won the Super Bowl. Welcome to the evolution.
Appreciate you, Peter. And by the way, I did forget that it was 9:30 your time, not Central Time. So it is my fault. Sorry. I'm like, dang, is this guy going to answer or what?
Great. That's great.
Gosh, dude. Honestly, I would say my greatest memory from that Super Bowl is just the satisfaction that so many people had that we worked with, or you still work with there in Tampa, everybody from, of course, JP Peterson, my former boss, to, Mike Neighbors, to, Scott Reynolds, to Taylor Jenkins, to, yourself, to everybody that we've worked with, right, that had been there for the long haul, well before and well after, the whole Bucs Super Bowl back in 2003, because I remember when I was there with you in 2019, everybody said, man, this Tampa team, it needs to win. Tampa needs a winner, because the Bolts, obviously being back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, that's an insane memory in itself, right? That's such a cool milestone. But football really does drive towns, and it really does drive the energy and the camaraderie of a city. And so when Tom Brady came into town, of course, the year after I leave Tampa, and he guides the Buccaneers to their second Super Bowl championship in Tampa, becoming the first team to do it, I thought how cool it was. Not only that the Buccaneers finally did it, but the fact that everybody there, yourself included, that covers the Bucs, finally got to write about the winner, and it was in our own backyard. I mean, how much cooler can it get, Peter?
I'm telling you right now, great people you named there. JP Peterson, who's been on this show before, great, does some great job, great stuff there with the JP Peterson show. Mike Neighbors, I've talked to him. We got to get him on here. I've been kind of hit in the head with this idea of Kyle Trask being the starter of 2023. Put your Gator hat on. I know you covered this team. Where do you lie on Kyle Trask? Do you think he could be the starter this year? And how do you think the Bucs would do with him at the controls this year?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that question and then kind of go into another possible Gator sidebar. And I think you already know where this is going. But, right, having covered Kyle Trask, his 2020 season, his senior year, when he led Florida to the SEC title game, they narrowly lost by one possession to that great Alabama team, Devontae Smith being the Heisman winner on that national title team. Kyle Trask at Florida was exceptional because he was surrounded by an exceptional offense. However, in these 2 years that we've seen Kyle Trask play sparingly, albeit mostly in the preseason, he certainly has not looked sharp. He's thrown a lot of bad passes. He's gotten picked quite a bit. He just doesn't seem to have that urgency or the awareness that it has to take to be even an averagely successful quarterback in the league. So that does scare me a little bit, and I know that scares the heck out of Buccaneers fans too. Granted, this will now be his third year in the system, but of course the Buccaneers are now getting a new offensive coordinator, which means he now has to learn a whole new playbook. So sadly, Peter, I think you can kind of throw that idea of him being him, or even Blaine Gabbert being the undisputed starter, because really neither guy is going to have maybe the best comprehension of the new system coming in, whether it's Todd Monken, who was there before, or somebody else. Now, on the flip side of that, Peter, I want to ask you, because I'm sure you've seen this all over social media. What do you think about the prospect of potentially the other premier Gator quarterback, Anthony Richardson, coming out of Florida, and maybe, for whatever reason, the Buccaneers drafting the athlete that is Richardson and maybe taking a chance on him that way?
This team has so many needs, right, Chris? I mean, offensive line, corner, depending on what free agency, what you do there and how much you lose at the end of the day. I feel like he has so much athletic ability that you could say, yeah, you could take a chance on him, but he's too inaccurate for me. He's too inconsistent. And yes, you see the athleticism. It definitely matches what the NFL is these days.
Yep.
I'm not sure if I'm investing a number one pick in Richardson this year. I think you got a better needs. I think you got more needs there at offensive line, at corner, even at defensive tackle. You got to get after, you got to pressure the passer. This team wasn't able to do enough of that last year. Even as crazy as it sounds, a wide receiver, because this team needs speed. I'm not saying it's their first objective, but they need speed at the end of the day. Mike Evans is getting up there. Chris Godwin is coming off an ACL injury. I would say that more than anything else, going with the quarterback. And it just depends on who your offensive coordinator is, right? I mean, Todd Monken has been talked about. Dan Pitzer, who's got a second interview. I mean, what do you think about the prospect of that? And then we'll move on and talk about Super Bowl 57. But Dan Pitzer getting a second interview from the Cincinnati Bengals, very responsible for the development, if you will, of a Joe Burrow. Does that excite you? Should that excite Buccaneer fans, no matter who the quarterback is? Say if it is Derek Carr, a Baker Mayfield, or in this case, as a lot of fans have told me tonight, it's going to be Kyle Trask.
See, Peter, to me, the offensive coordinator position, it's as equally dependent on the quarterback, right? Look, you can be the best X and O caller there is, right? You can be Bill Walsh. You can be somebody of that level of offensive intelligence. And if you don't have the Jimmies and Joes to execute the X and O's, we know nothing great can come of that. And that's where I think it's the hardest part. Because right now the Buccaneers are trying to bring in a new guy that's either going to be working with a third-year player who's going to take on a brand new system and try to learn all that verbiage. Or, right, maybe you get someone like Derek Carr who can come in, who is a veteran, who obviously, right, it's him coming in and playing, if he comes and plays in Tampa Bay and he gets to throw to Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, to me, that right there is better than having just Devontae Adams in your system.
Correct.
Now granted, Josh Jacobs, a hell of a running back, was the best back in football this year. He was also on my fantasy team. Thank you very much. So I was happy about that. But at the same time, that Raider culture certainly is also down to the dumps. It's not just the fact that their team was mediocre and by far the worst team there was with a big lead this season, but their culture's not good. the Bucs culture is good, right? Tom Brady helped elevate that culture. But I also think that's a bit of a detriment to whoever steps in, because you are trying to then walk in a locker room and command a locker room full of men who would have gone to the ends of the earth right through a brick wall for a guy named Tom Brady, who proved how to win in clutch time. And sadly, Derek Carr was a part of those, at least 5 losses? 5 losses?
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
having 17-point lead or more in a game this past season. So, I mean, Peter, I don't know, man. Again, this is all dependent on the quarterback. Whoever you get as offensive coordinator, you got to have a guy that can sling it, is confident and competent to make the throws when you have to have it.
I got to ask you because I feel bad here. We're on with Chris Pinson of KOLR10 and the Ozarks Fox. How cold is it there, my friend? It takes a lot getting used to that. I've never experienced snow before. Maybe I need to get out of Florida. But what's it like? Have you seen snow there? What's the temperature right there right now?
So, Peter, here's the funny thing, right? You and I being born and raised Florida guys, right?
Yep.
I had seen snow plenty of times. I've been out of state. I've seen snow. I've played in it, never lived in it. And this is my first venture into living in a permanent place of 4 seasons. Honestly, though, here in Springfield, Missouri, it's not bad. But the funny thing is, you and I would tell people that Florida's bipolar because in the summertime, right, it can rain in your front yard and not in your backyard, and it's done in 10 minutes. And it sounds like the world's ending.
Yep.
Peter, when I came here, everybody said, hey, by the way, you moved to the true bipolar state, right? I'm like, yeah, whatever. Peter, in the last 10 days, it has gone from temperatures in the teens to today as high as 60 degrees and raining. And we've had 4 or 5 inches snowed here twice before, and it's gone in 2 days. I mean, it literally can't make up its mind what to do.
That's crazy in itself. We're enjoying the comforts of 75 degrees, little wind. I know you miss it. With that being said,
so badly.
Right. We talked about quarterbacks there. You're in Missouri. I mean, what's it like there? Kansas City Chiefs being in Super Bowl 57 with Patrick Mahomes. Let's talk about these quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, of course, the big-time story. And the way Mahomes got through that game versus the Cincinnati Bengals, the hype there has to be real in Missouri, right?
Let me tell you what, Peter. Every single bar, restaurant, house, building, you name it, it is red. I mean, this is a red state, and I'm not talking politics, baby, okay? It is the Chiefs Kingdom, the wall of Troy or around Chiefs Kingdom, okay? People love the Chiefs here in this town. And I'm telling you, Peter, there were so many people that went from Springfield to that game 2 weeks ago to watch Joe Burrow and the Bengals come to Burrowhead and get sent home packing and told never to come back again. I mean, what a game that was, Peter. The thing that is often lost is that when you look at the biggest weakness of both teams, the Eagles are hard to find a weakness with, right? Because they have a great offensive line, a great defense all around. They've got Jalen Hurts. You got A.J. Brown. You got Devontae Smith. You got Miles Sanders. I mean, you got a whole, to me, complete package of a team. The big weakness for Kansas City is the fact that they do have 8 players on defense, and their defense has not only accrued the most defensive passes, the most defensive PIs penalties in the league this year, with I believe 15. Also, its secondary gave up the most passing touchdowns. However, to counteract that, which is where this is going to be the battle between Philly and Kansas City, is the fact that 6 times this season, including Sunday's AFC title game, the Kansas City Chiefs front 7 has registered 5 or more sacks in a game. So what, to me, right, we always say what? The battle of the trenches decides a game. That, to me, is the story. You have a KC front going against, to me, the best offensive line in football. And while KC's O-line is pretty good, I think the Eagles might be better. So right now, if I had to bet money on it and not my job, I would bet that the Eagles are wisely favored for a reason, but just by a smidge.
Yeah, just by a smidge. And, of course, Patrick Mahomes can make things happen. We saw in Super Bowl 55 when that line was beat up. You're missing both of your tackles, and Mahomes is running for his life for 497 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And even with the offensive line in a better predicament than they were 2 years ago, I still think he's going to be injured, and I still think that's the advantage of the Philadelphia Eagles. With that being said, the experience, of course, with Andy Reid against his former team, do you think Nick Sirianni can overcome that that experience factor and that Jalen Hurts can excel against that Kansas City defense that really stepped up versus that Bengals offense in the AFC Championship game.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that to me was the best sign for KC, was that Joe Burrow, like Jalen Hurts, mobile quarterback, can beat you if the pocket breaks down. If he gets in the open field, can pick up 5 or 10 yards with a few steps. That was a huge sign. Was not only were they able to limit Joe Mixon and the dynamic rushing attack of the Bengals, that was at home, by the way, in pretty cold weather, but they were also able to limit Joe Burrow. You know, they got 2 picks. That was the first postseason game, by the way, Joe Burrow ever threw an interception. He threw 2 of them that game. So, again, Peter, I think this is going to be a close game. I believe that wholeheartedly these 2 teams are going to come down to the wire. I do think the Eagles are a better balanced team overall. But this is what's so fun about playing the game, is that you get to see the two best teams in football. No fluke here. The 2 best teams in football going at it with dynamic playmakers. Reed against his old team. Kelsey brothers against each other. Two first black starting quarterbacks in football. And, of course, the great debate, Peter, the biggest of all. What's better, barbecue or a Philly cheesesteak, my friend?
Well, I'll go first. I mean, I like Philly cheesesteak at the end of the day, right? And I hate to say that because growing up, watching the Bucs, being a fan, Philly would always be the thorn in the side of this Buccaneer team. But at the end of the day, I think they're the most complete team, even though you have a superstar in Patrick Mahomes. We have seen a defense who can get after it. I think this Eagle team, that they can get after it. I think that's the biggest key to the game. I love Philly cheesesteak. I'm not going to lie. I love also barbecue, but barbecue kind of gives me heartburn. At the does not. What's your biggest key? Is it coaching? Is it the quarterback play? Is it defense? Is it something that we're not talking about? Possibly special teams.
You know, special teams hasn't really crossed my mind too much, right? Just because, again, both these teams are pretty sound in that department. Obviously, it was the special teams unit that made the difference at the end of the Chiefs game, right? That huge return for 29 yards. That helped set up that great scramble by Mahomes, aided by the 15-yard late hit penalty. Would it shock me if somebody made a special teams play? No. I don't think so, though. I am saying this, though. I do believe that there will be a touchdown scored of 40 yards or more on some crazy trick play, okay? You can take that to the bank. I don't know if it's a flea flicker. I don't know if it's a jet sweep, throw back to the quarterback, throw it back across the field. But to me, one of these 2 teams – and it shouldn't surprise anybody, considering the Philly special happened and it worked. I think a trick play is going to be one of the big highlights of this game that's going to swing momentum for somebody.
You're absolutely correct. I think you're definitely right about that. And that can happen because a defense can over pursue. And, of course, you talk about Chris Jones, Kansas City Chiefs. He's been known to do that, so maybe you catch them napping. I got to ask you, got to get off the Super Bowl really quick. Aaron Rodgers, what do you make of this show today? And he was talking about going on a darkness retreat. In fact, he goes on to explain this. You're not locked in. You can leave if you can't do it. You could just walk out the door. It's a darkness retreat. I've had a number of friends who've done it, had some profound experiences. It's something that's been on my radar for a few years now, and I feel like it would be awesome to do regardless. And to paraphrase, 4 days in a house, a little house by yourself. I mean, that sounds like prison to me. It sounds worse than prison. Is this a foreshadowing of things to come that possibly he could be joining the Raiders in the black hole? I mean, make some sense of this. A darkness retreat for Aaron Rodgers?
So my favorite part of that interview he did with Pat McAfee today was him adding on to that, sometimes, right, it's such a deprivation for your senses, for your central nervous system. He said that sometimes you can actually go into visions and hallucinate. And so when I saw that on Twitter, I snapshotted that, and I sent that to a buddy of mine who's a diehard Packers fan I've known since I was in middle school. And I said, congratulations. I said, I think Aaron Rodgers announced his retirement. He goes, what do you mean? I said, dude, this guy's going to be so out of this world. He's probably going to hallucinate that he won the Super Bowl this year, and he's going to think that's good enough, okay? I mean, look, Peter, what can you say? Look, dude, he's a California kid, okay? That's a very unique state is all I'm going to say. And I think his heads are really in the clouds thanks to some kind of impairment, okay? I think that guy – now, Peter, I've said this before. Peter, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that Aaron Rodgers hasn't gone exactly the way that Brett Favre has in Green Bay. Will I retire? Will I not? Why should I stay? Why should I retire? I mean, he literally has gone in the same playbook as the Brett Favre saga played out. Yeah, sure. You got 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You got a Super Bowl from each. But at the end of the day, Peter, we know this from watching Tim Tebow, from watching Antonio Brown, from anybody that is such a polarizing figure, good or bad. At the end of the day, it's kind of like the hot crazy woman, right? She's so hot, you put up with the crazy. But at the end of the day, when that's over with, you're tired of the crazy, brother. And I think personally, if the Packers weren't $58 million invested in this guy, they would have cut ties with him. But sadly, he is so expensive. He is so polarizing that, again, for a Bucs or a Raiders or somebody to want him on their team, to actually go the mile and trade for him or create some kind of compensation package, I think you are literally inviting the devil into your home, put it that way.
I mean, you're absolutely correct. And you talked about the crazy woman. She's, she's ultra hot, and they usually are. When they're ultra hot, they're crazy, and you're willing to put up with it. But for how long? And you're exactly right. It should the theme song for the Green Bay Packers the last 5 years should be "Should I Stay or Should I Go?" Because that has always been about Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to come back? Is he going to retire? So we'll see how that all plays out at the end of the day. You're exactly right. When it comes to Aaron Rodgers, I don't even know what to say anymore about this guy. To me, he's like Jake Plummer, right? And you remember the Bucs trading for Jake Plummer?
Yes.
And great year for Arizona, and he had some years with Denver, and they trade for him, and he goes off into the mountains. I feel like eventually we're going to see Rodgers go off into the mountains somewhere and just stay there for some unknown reason. I don't understand it. Quick prediction here, Super Bowl 57, who wins and why? What's your score?
Ooh, okay. Again, right, you and I have both stated that we both believe Philadelphia is the more well-balanced team objectively.
Yep.
Obviously, living here in the land of the kingdom, I do not want to disrespect the throne or the leader of the band. So I do believe it's going to be a 6-point game or less. You know, I can easily see something along the lines of, a 27-20 game, 28-24, something in those realms to where if you take the over, the under, you're going to be sweating which one's going to hit. But I'm going to say I think the Chiefs win. I think Chiefs win this game 27-24. And I think the X factor, right? Because you asked about something that might happen or which unit to look at. He was quieted whenever the Chiefs played the Bengals in that terrible storm 2 Sundays ago. But the guy that anybody and every defensive coach or player had circled on their chart in the month of December was Jerick McKinnon, who scored the most touchdowns of any player in the NFL that entire month with, I believe, 9. So to me, neutral site field, playing with all eyes going on, the law firm of Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Travis Kelce, Justin Watson, Jerick McKinnon, who can be in the backfield, he can be in the slot, he can be a wideout. That guy is a Swiss Army knife. He is my X factor for this game. I believe he will find a way to score a touchdown, and I believe it will be the Chiefs winning this game 27-24 over Philadelphia in Super Bowl 57.
Love it. Good stuff there. Chris Pinson, go ahead and promote yourself here on The Evolution. By the way, smart guy there, not to piss off the Kansas City Chiefs fans with you being the new guy. But once again, go ahead and promote yourself here on The Evolution.
I appreciate it, Peter. Yeah, again, I'm the new weekend sports anchor for Color 10 and Fox 49 here in the Ozarks. We cover Missouri State, Drury University, Evangel as well, 40-plus high schools. And I'm very excited because we also are home to the Springfield Cardinals, which is the AA facility of the St. Louis Cardinals. They're going to be here through at least 2038 with a new lease with the city. So whether it's baseball, you pick a sport, we cover it. And believe me, I enjoy talking with this and also covering the college and high school sports in the area. So if you make a trip to the wonderful Ozarks area of Missouri, tune into Color 10. I'm always with you.
I may have to do that, my friend. Chris Pinson, thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, all right?
Yeah, brother. Appreciate you.
Stay warm. Get warm there.
Yeah.
It's cold. I mean, I always say it, right? Floridians, they're like a bunch of chihuahuas. They don't have the fur to deal with it, my friend. I felt bad for you this whole interview, so thanks a lot. Next time we got to get you somewhere warmer, all right?
All right, sounds good, brother.
All right, good stuff there. Chris Pinson of KOLR in the Ozarks, Fox. Great man right there doing big things. Of course, local guy that used to work in this area, worked in Gainesville. and knows about the Florida Gators and told you about Kyle Trask. And even mentioned Anthony Richardson, which will be the next quarterback that some Bucs fans will be interested in. Let's go ahead and read these comments, and we'll get out of here for the night. Where I'm at, I'm in Pittsburgh at home. Garoppolo, I like Jimmy Garoppolo, but he can't stay healthy. That's the problem. He can never stay healthy. For the last 2 to 3 years, he has been an off-injured quarterback. He's won lots of games with the 49ers. And I'm not sure if they're going to turn the page because of Brock Purdy and him being out for 9 to 12 months or longer. Trey Lance, you drafted him. You got to see what you got in there. See, I could see, like, if Trey Lance is on the Bucs and you invested 3 first-round picks, okay, I'll buy that. But Kyle Trask is second-round pick. Again, it's a premium pick, but you can always turn the page. Jason Light has done that over and over again with some of his players. Steelers GM Omar Khan is a number cruncher. Josh Rosen, there's another quarterback that the Bucs couldn't develop, although never gave him a chance, right? He was picked up. Picked him up, possibly a backup quarterback. No. Watching the best show. Yeah, okay.
This guy sucks.
Even if we get Carr, could the Bucs still draft a quarterback like Hooker as a future project to fill that quarterback room? Absolutely. From Tennessee, coming off an injury, that's certainly a possibility, especially with, and that'll tell you everything you need to know, Chris. That's a great comment. That'll tell you everything you need to know about this Bucs team and where their belief system is on Trask if they feel like he is the future. It'll tell you everything you need to know. That's Tulio. Excuse me, Tulio. Thank you very much for the comment. Good stuff as always.
Yeah.
Chris says no, and I don't want to find out if Trask can start. See, there you go. Troy says, correction. Brady came into town, taught us how to cheat, and we win the Super Bowl. Once again, nonsense.
Shitter!
I have a name for Rodgers. I bet you do. Let's see here. Go get Garoppolo. Plain and simple. Well, it's not plain and simple because, again, is he going to come in here? Is he going to be able to stay healthy? Do you have a good backup quarterback? Because you know that he's going to miss some games. I like Jimmy G. I do. I remember being the first one saying Super Bowl or bust. That was a lie.
This guy sucks.
Chris Jones is dominating this year. He absolutely is dominating. He's taking his game to another level. And we'll talk more about the Super Bowl tomorrow with the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, and some other guests here on the evolution of sports talk television. Bucs trash for the next decade. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Shitter!
And Ray Kennedy says Chris Pinson is the best. That's why we have the best of the best. We got Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. We got Harry the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire. We'll have Leo Haggerty on. We got Chris Cuff from 24 Flicks giving you an update at Amway Arena for the Orlando Magic. I know that you guys want to talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning eventually as they fall tonight in overtime to San Jose 4-3. I believe that score is correct. We'll get Shooter and Stash on eventually. We'll talk about your Tampa Bay Lightning, but right now, for me, it's Football Central. And who's going to be the starting quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2023? Who is going to be the offensive coordinator of the Bucs? What are the Bucs going to do in free agency? How is Super Bowl 57 going to play out? Who do you like to win? We'll talk more about that tomorrow night. Once again, thanks a lot to all the guests. We'll wrap it up from here. Do 3 things. Before we do those three things, please like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Like I Love St. Pete, The Hub, and Amped Up Sports. And once again, these 3 things. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And Bucs fans and fans of the Sports Web, it's your time. We'll see you tomorrow night on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Have a good night.